Hey, this video. Hang on, let me turn it up there. There you go. Let me get it. So it's sorry that my voice is only one side. I have a computer problem that didn't happen before. I think it's because I think my jack going in is actually stereo jack for the music editor that I use. So I have a mono microphone, and that's just the way it is. Um, if you could do like I do, get smart and buy the headphones that I have, where you could plug the cable in the headphones, the one jack on one side and the other jack on the other side, the two sizes. You could pull it halfway out and then hear mono, and that's fine. But you don't care because you're not interested in where my voice is. You just are interested in learning uh, what the video is saying. So this one I'm going to talk about this crazy opening, and, and I had to switch my mouse. I had a white place this move right here, and this is the Patzer opening. I guess there's like a whole thing on matrix chess, but no one can get the stupid book that they say that they have for matrix chess. So I think it's just a bunch of BS. Myself, um, in this position, best move, of course, is this, and that's what's played. I saw the video on YouTube where the international master played this against the FM, and the FM was dumbfounded. The poor kid was just completely crazy, and then he played D6 instead of knight F7, and he got caught in some type of complications. But even D6 in this position is okay. It's already white has a disadvantage. So he plays this cheesy stuff to do this. He pushes, and in the video he goes like here, and in the butcher's video he was looking at this idea here, and then later on he's like, well, the queen's there, but think about it, he's already got his queen out. Why would I bring my queen out? So of course Stockfish just plays this. He's got to play this move because the knight's coming in here. This is his for the main move, but then it switches when it gets a little bit deeper. I think it does. Oh, no, it doesn't. Oh, he plays this. Yeah, he plays this. No, it doesn't switch. I remember now. It's that's the main move. We're going to let him think for a minute. He's on depth 33, so okay, he's committed to it. Excuse me, he goes there. I'm drinking Diet 7-Up, and I'm eating the Cheez-Its crackers after having the best bacon and eggs that you could ever have in the whole entire world. No, I didn't cook them. My mother cooked them. She's got the natural talent, and if you ever want the best chicken soup in the world, then you have to go to her. But it's going to be expensive. So what is he going to do? He's looking at playing this move, of course, to keep the bishop from coming in, but okay, that's kind of prophylactic for prophylactic sake. Already black's got an advantage of 40 cents, so black's pretty happy because we all know that in the opening game, now the people that teach you that or that swear by this opening for white, I don't understand why they swear by it, because first of all, black needs to equalize the position and stabilize the position before he can even think of offensive measures. But already he's ahead. He's totally ahead, so the position's totally even better than equalized. So he has no problem developing his game. He has no problems that white can do. I mean, what is white going to do? And look at white's queen. It's just stuck there. It's doing absolutely nothing. It just looks like it looks like it wants to just get really angry and divorce all the other pieces and just walk off the board and get a good lawyer and just call it quits, because he's already has a disadvantage. So we're at depth 27. We're going to give him a couple more replies here. We'll get it up to depth maybe 28, or if it to go up there, maybe depth 30. And but now I think it's pretty close. It's good to say that he's pretty committed to this move. It's his number one move. He could also castle, but that's not number one move. So if he castles in this position, it's a little bit worse. And oops, I'll go there. And then if he plays here, it's even worse. So now with that move, he's even worse. Why? Because he's just developing a pawn, and he gets the castle. Of course, you still have to play the game, but it's pretty simple. It's not even complicated. I mean, if you look at this position, white's pieces are all very passive. The bishop's there was doing a job, but now he has no job to do. He's just like, okay, you put me out, bring me out in this action, but now I got nothing. The main move, of course, let's back up because that's not his main move anyway. And then he's got this move here, but he's wasted temples with that piece, and he can get attacked as a secondary. But his main move is just to push the pawn and shore up the pawn. So he's got all this stuff that he can do. He's got all these ideas that aren't as good, but still give him some advantage. But of course, this is the number one. So we can go to that. We could say, okay, so he's not going to do that. So maybe he's got this move, good move. Okay. Well, it's an okay move, but and it does drop the advantage down just a touch. But I don't think that's nothing because he's just moving a pawn. Big deal. Yes, it does release the bishop a little bit, but where's it going to go? It's not going to go here. It's not going to go here. It's not. It could go here. That's about his only good move. But I think the bishop's going to could get in the way of things. Maybe not. But as it's looking, that's just the way it is. So he has to we look at his. Or then if he castles. Okay, so that's even worse. I think I already did the castling thing. I forget, but that's even worse. I mean, that's 60 cents. I mean, 60 cents, and we're getting close to the middle game. That type of advantage. Once you hit the middle game, that's a type of advantage that's even worth even more because it can grow. There's 70 cents now. It could just grow. Where in the opening game, maybe you have an advantage for a while, but if it's going to grow, it's going to grow just a little bit, and still be kind of close to the box of maybe 20 to 0.25 normal advantage for white, and maybe 0.40 in the opening game or 0.35 in the opening game. If it's like that in the opening game, like early in the opening game, it may grow a little bit. Your opponent's going to make some moves that change the dynamics or change the logistics over the board a little bit, with the factors over the board, and maybe that advantage kind of goes up and kind of goes down. But once you settle things and you enter into the middle game, if you're still pushing like $1.40 or $1.50, that's something that could grow now because you've got dynamic play, or you've got a much better game. You got a lot more opportunities, and the opponent's position starts to just fall apart. It starts to get in this thing where he's making the very best moves he can, but the very best moves he can are still horrible for him. So this is particularly horrible. Why would white even open up where on what is this? What move are we on? Let's see. Oh, that's castling. Okay, so let's do that, and let's do the best move. So on move 7 on H3, he moves H3 and he's minus 60 cents. And this is supposed to be good. This is supposed to be good, and this is also supposed to be somehow scary. Like somehow I'm scared. Like somehow I think you must be stupid for playing this, and oh my God, if you checkmate me. That's what he said on the video. It was psychological, but the truth is, what he analyzed was what Butcher analyzed was the queen on F3. So the queen on F3 is really an inaccuracy, and in that inaccuracy, of course, there's play for white. But it's easy to play accurate when you only have one line to play, and you just have you have a situation like this, and then you have your best moves that and then you have your other opponent's best moves that you can just analyze really fast. You could just run it through really fast, and you could see the position, and you could see it and say everything's bad for white in this position, and look at black. Black's got extremely strong pieces. He's going to castle. He's going to play D6. He's going to castle. And then the light square bishop's activated. I mean, this is all good for black. It's all bad for white. So what's white's best move? Of course, what we're on 36. That's the move we make. And now, okay, so the analysis goes down a little bit because we just pushed the pawn. That's okay. We still have advantage, and the opponent can't keep it at this low rate anyway. He's going to have to do something. So at depth 22, he wants the castle, but we're going to give him maybe a little bit more. If it's very slow, I'll just pause the video really fast and jump it up, and then and wait till it jumps up and then come back. And like I said, another thing, like in the other video, when one side has a really bad position, it has a lot of problems, and there's a lot of mathematical type of formulas or combinations of moves for positional sake, or even tactical motifs, or even tactical motifs for positional sake, or maybe even tactical play for tactical reasons. Maybe there's something that's really, really nasty, and it forces him to have to do something or lose something, just so you can run some other combination. Maybe and boom, 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 he's done with. He's all busted open, nothing left. Maybe his end of the game is just him just crying because he's got so many bad pawns or something. I believe if it was, I think it was the candy variation where white ended up with just really weak pawns, and it's easy. Anybody could do that. A 2,000-point player can do that. A 1,500-point player can take over from there and say, hey, I take over from here for you. The 1,500-point player takes over because the other guy's got to go, and he's long gone in the Mercedes driving down the road because his wife is yelling for him to go out to dinner tonight, and he's late and all that stuff. And then the 15-year-old finishes off and beats the guy, and everybody claps for him and calls him brilliant and everything because the position is just so easy to analyze. It's so easy to know this. These gambits are just kind of like your favorite TV show. Like if I binged out on Seinfeld, then I watched every episode from the first one all the way to the last one. Okay, that's something. Okay, that's something that you would say, man, that would drive me crazy because it's just so many Seinfelds, right? So many Seinfeld after Seinfeld after Seinfeld. Even the one with the crazy guy, what's his name, the Kramer guy says, I'm out there, Jerry, and I'm loving it and all that stuff. And then all of a sudden, another guy, like in an apartment building next to him, he just watches one Seinfeld because that's all he has to watch. Because when he was offered the Seinfeld and he opened it up, what he was offered was just a piece of crap. And inside that piece of crap is the one Seinfeld episode. That's easy to remember. It's easy to remember this stuff when there's only like very few options for white, because white's game has very few options. And if you look at black's game, when it shows black's best move, it shows a ton of other moves that he could play. There's a ton of other play that he could play that's not as good, so you're not going to score as high. But the bottom line is, if you're over $120, it doesn't matter. If you're over $120, you're going to win the game, especially when you get later and later in the game. So if you're at if the analysis says it's 223, and that's just a killing winning game, because we know that even just being up 1 point is considered a winning game, but it's not the same as being up like 150, because if you're up 150, that just tells you right off the bat that you have a winning game, but it's a lot easier to win than it would be if you were just up $1. But when you're up $2.30, I mean, the win is right there. It's just so easy, because that really means that your opponent's game is so restricted. His options are all bad. No matter what he does, all he's doing is trying to find a lesser of 1, 2, 3, 4 evils here, 5 evils. So here's his main move, and in this, he's still thinking about castling as a secondary. Still thinking about putting his rook here as a secondary, and then as a third option. So this move will get him this is the lesser of all the bad ones. So let's look at the rook one. Of course, that's bad already. It goes to 8. And black could simply just castle in this position. It's looking like it. It's pretty solid. He's already up to depth 20. So we're just going to give him a little bit of time. Here's 21. We'll go up to now. He's thinking about the knight a little bit, but he's not confused. He's not confused, and he's not like, oh my God, what am I going to do? Let's analyze this. Let's analyze that. No, he's just sitting there going, oh, I'm just laughing my head off. I'm laughing my head off because it's just like that guy, that crazy guy in Seinfeld when he was in the van with the crazy kids, and that guy was like talking about cutting the guy if somebody ever treated him like that. And he's just thinking about that. He's like, what can I do? And maybe Stockfish, even though he's a computer and he doesn't really think, who knows? Maybe Stockfish really has like a personality. He's just too smart to tell us. And he's like, what shall I do? Shall I make the best moves now in the position and win it really quickly? Or should I just make not the best moves and just fight on and make my opponent suffer more? So it's kind of like, almost like Stockfish is saying, what do I want to do? Do I want to just kill the rodent, or do I want to just injure the rodent and just keeps making him suffer and suffer until finally the rodent resigns the game? Because when it really gets down to it, this anybody who's going to play this opening, to me, and they think that this is a good opening, okay, that's one thing. Okay, I can understand that. You watch videos maybe on YouTube, and guys are bragging about it or talking about it, and then you have somebody who's highly respected, like the Butcher. But again, the Butcher's videos were accurate if your opponent plays the queen move. So if the opponent plays the queen move, then play the Butcher video ideas, because they're nice ideas, of course. I wouldn't throw that completely away or anything. I wouldn't criticize that or throw that away. But Stockfish basically says no. Butcher's completely right up to this point, but at this point I put the knight there on f6, and then this is how I set up against this, and I'm just okay. I'm sorry, I'm not just okay. I'm way better than okay. It's not like the positions equalize and stabilize. Now we could play chess, and it's my chess knowledge against your chess knowledge, my experience against your experience, my nerves against your nerves. No, this is basically Stockfish saying I just do this, and I'm way ahead. Okay, so the rook move, we know we can't do the rook. He can't do the rook move. Let's try the castling really fast. Okay, so the castling really fast still gives you a good advantage. And remember, this normally White has an advantage of 20 to 25 in the opening, and that's something that he expects to have, except for the ready opening, maybe except for the King's Indian attack, maybe because he doesn't play for advantage in that. He doesn't play for advantage in the London system. London system he plays to get advantage later in the game, in the middle game. And then, like Mickey M said, he just whoever knows the positions better is going to fend well. Okay, but other than a couple things that could happen in the Black Mark-Damer Gambit, where Black does things that he thinks are logical, only to find out, oh, there's this thing that White can do, and suddenly either Black's getting directly attacked with pieces, and he's getting checkmated on the king side, or he's getting attacked with pawns, and then things break open, and then pieces come in, and he's getting checkmated. Or in another idea that's their older ideas that maybe someone doesn't even know for Black because they haven't really studied it, where Black decides, hey, look at, I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna trade off bishops, and suddenly he's got an attack on Black's queen, and he's forced to play knight takes knight, and then of course White just plays bishop takes bishop, and now he's got the bishop pair, and now he just has to figure out the way, figure out a way how to open the game up to make those bishops really strong and be stronger, and just outplay him in the middle game with the strong bishops, with all the tactical motifs that come along with it, and with all the dynamic play that comes along with it. So in positions like this, so here he castles, and guess what? Nothing changes. Nothing changes. Still point 70, right? So let's do something else. Oh, he's got this. Well, this is his main move. This is his secondary. This one's a. Well, actually, yeah, this one's a secondary. That looks about the same. No. This is a secondary, and this is a secondary. This is a third line, and this is the fourth line. So let's play that for a second, and let's see what happens. We'll take a look. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, I know where we're at now. So it takes a little bit for Stockfish to run it through. He's looking like he's pretty committed to either putting the rook on b8 or to push a6, but he's got other secondary moves. He's got the main move of castling, and then he's looking at a secondary of pushing a6, and then he's looking at a third option of either queen e7 or bishop d7. But we don't mess around with secondary moves when we do analyzation. I certainly don't, not from my side. From my side, I just go ahead and make the best move that Stockfish says to make, and then I'm going to let Stockfish think it over for White, of course. And then, of course, I look at all the different moves that are suggested. And of course, moves that aren't suggested, of course, we know are just horrible. So if you can't play against that, then that'd be a poor state to be in. But this position right now is just horrible for White, even though White is kind of whittled down a little bit, but it's still Black is getting very close to being in the middle game. White still has to castle, and he still has to push this pawn, and he still has to develop his bishop. So he's got 3 moves, and he's got 3 moves. Now he's looking at this rook move again as a number 1 move, strongest move, scores the highest. He's saying bishop d7. Bishop d7 just drops down to equality, and queen e7 is like really close to equality with just the normal normal advantages that white would have, but black has it, so it's just equality or pretty close to equality. But of course we are getting close to the middle game, so that equality kind of changes, of course, because or that number kind of changes, has a different value as far as maybe like how money was valued back when I was a kid. So if I found if I today walked down the street and found a $5 bill, I could go buy something with it, but I couldn't even buy a pack of cigarettes with it because I need like $4 more for that. But if I had a time machine, I was able to go back to maybe not 72, maybe 1970. Actually 1977. Actually, if I went back to 1977, I had that same 1972 bill, so it's not like they think it's fake because it says 2021 on it or something. And I go to the store. Okay, I could do like my brother did when my dad in 1977. My dad gave my brother $5 to get gas. He bought 9 gallons of gas and a pack of cigarettes, cool cigarettes, and he had a nickel change. So when we get into the middle game, these numbers are maybe the same to Stockfish, but they really represent a lot more because they represent that advantage in the middle game. So there's kind of like a bonus that you get, and the further you go down in the middle game, and the farther you go in the middle game, the more that particular number is really worth. Okay, so he really is now committing to at depth 27. He's really committing to this rook move as number 1. So let's take a look at it, and just like any normal advantage, once we get into something that's exciting to have, the evaluation after move after move after move after move is going to kind of go up and down, and we expect that. In fact, I don't know. This says this is equality, real close to equality. So let's take that move back. He's calling it as a first move, but let's look at this move. So that's kind of interesting because I think he was still thinking about it even at depth 27. I think he was just thinking about it at depth 27. So he was considering it, which is surprising because of the fact that usually the side that's in trouble and has a lot of problems, Stockfish will take a long time to commit to a move on Lee chess. Stockfish 11, it'll just kind of flip from one to another to another to another until finally it commits to something, and then you just have to wait and wait and wait because even that, it might all of a sudden start flipping slowly from one to another, back and forth. And when we analyze something like this, that's easy to analyze. We always want to analyze for our moves. We always want to play the strongest moves, and then for the opponent, we want to see the strongest move, and then we want to analyze everything else really fast. We analyze everything else really fast, and we see how crappy it is. So we play the move, and then we just take it. We take it a little bit deep, a couple moves deep, and just see what it looks like. That's really easy in positions like this, where it's not complicated. And especially if we have forcing moves, that's so easy to see, and it's so easy to analyze that way. So we're at depth 26, and he's pretty solid on this move right here as his first move, and he's still down 0.5 after we castled. So I would say in the position, you could play the rook move, but I think it was really weird that rook move all of a sudden equalized. So I think he was thinking about it. Maybe it equalizes at a very low depth, and then when it gets up to the higher depths, then it goes back up. But that just means that you're gonna you're just going to have to play more moves to get there. And here we've castled, so we're at a good advantage right now. Since we're at 0.5 right now, 50 cents right now, I kind of sometimes do the 0.5, sometimes say 50 cents. I like to do the dollar and cents one the most because it's the easiest, but I'm just the way I am sometimes, and I say what I say, and in a lot of particular cases, some cases I say point something, in some cases I say whatever, 50 cents or whatever. Now it's 0.60, again 60 cents, right? I mean, this is not even something that we could even like argue about, because anybody who says, well, the Patzer opening is a scary opening and you get this out of it, you get that out of it. Yes, if the queen develops on f6 again instead of the knight on f6, you get something. But in this, and the Butcher's right when he says, what's Black's king doing there? Because in that particular line, I think, if I remember correctly, the knight has not developed onto e2 yet, so the queen could just retreat or something, and then Black's queen retreats. And again, in this position, if the queen retreats somewhere, that knight doesn't have to retreat anywhere. So it's like why put our queen on f6? I'm not saying that I'm thinking that of myself, because it was Stockfish that showed me that in the analyzation. Then I started thinking about it, and I was like, well, it makes it does make sense to put the knight on f6, but anybody can miss that. Anybody could kind of miss that and think in terms of that. And I know for a very fact that a long time ago, when I first started playing chess, somebody taught me something about if your queen goes there or something like that, you put your queen there, and if he takes, your knight develops, and you get a developing move, and if you take, his knight develops, and whoever can force the other one to take ends up better, or something like that, which maybe in general could be true in some situations. Of course, like if you're playing like a London system and your opponent plays the line where he brings his knight out on the queen side, queen out on the queen side, that's part of what was taught in Grandmaster Adams' video. On there's two-part video, long. I think it was like 2.5 hours each video of the London system. But I think I put that actual position in Stockfish, and I think Stockfish was like, this is what I do. I do this. I don't put the queen there. And so with this type, but of course a game like that's going to be hard to analyze, because you're going to have a lot of stuff, and it's like solid play and really good play. It's not crappy play like you're bringing your queen down to h5 and you're pretending that you're a chess player. So they should call this a Patzer opening just for that reason. I believe they call it the Patzer opening because of the fact that your opponent will think you're a Patzer for playing it or something like that. Okay, so we're up to depth 29, so he's pretty committed on this move, so I think I could trust it now. I don't think it's going anywhere else. The move itself is the lesser of two evils, or a bunch of evils, but you can't blame White for making this move, because it does release the bishop. And I mean, what else does he have in its position? He needs to get his position somehow to have harmony. His position really doesn't have harmony. In fact, to tell you the truth, even those knights that are sitting on those squares are probably angry at each other, because maybe maybe one of those knights would like to be on a different square. Maybe the knight on the queen side would like to be actually on e2. Maybe the knight in e2 would rather be on maybe possibly go to g1, and maybe the queen can just kind of get off that f file, and then maybe that knight could go back to f3. Back to f3. So, and then maybe if needed, the other knight can at least jump to e2 if it's kicked or something happens. So I think right now White's position is just very uncoordinated. They're not working good together. Everything's in disarray, and and he's down 0.60 right now. With all his best moves, he's down 0.60. So at depth 25, it looks like black's committed to playing a6. Which is a pawn move. So, because it's a pawn move, let me get the clock here real fast to see how far we are in this. Oh, this is only 29 minutes. Maybe I'll take this up to almost an hour probably. You know, a3 is just a pawn move, so a3 is probably going to drop his advantage down to about maybe 30 or 40, but that's okay. He's got other moves coming up, and his advantage is not going away. So you have to think of it kind of like a wave in itself, where sometimes it's high, sometimes it's low, and as soon as it stables out in the position, then it's just going to grow and just going to grow. Okay. And I'm glad that I waited, because he was thinking about a6, but now he's thinking about putting his bishop there. Now he's thinking about a6 again. I'll pause the video. Okay. So depth 27, it looks like he's committed to this bishop move, and it looks like bishop to e6 is his main move, his strongest move, and a6 is a secondary. King to h3 is the third one. Oh, wait a minute. Here. Bishop a6 is his first one. A6 is his other one. Rook to b8 is his third one. But and then bishop to d7 is the last one. King to h7 and rook to b8 score like 0.4, right? And then a6 is 0.5, and then bishop e6 keeps him at 0.6, right? So he should be at 0.6 right this move. Okay. Sorry it's taking so long. Maybe I should just pause the video for a second. The problem is, of course, I'm a slave right now to Stockfish going through the depths, because I don't trust depth 25, because his position is so completely helter-skelter that he has to think about a lot of different things, and that's pretty amazing that suddenly he's making this knight move and equalizing. But let's see, because again, it's just a wave going up and down with the analysis. I'll pause the video for just a second and we'll get to it because I'm wasting your time just waiting. Okay, we made it up to depth 27. So this looks like his best move. It really does. We're going to take it up to depth 28 real fast, and then at depth 28 we're going to commit to it. But he's been on this for a long time as his main move, so let's go ahead and play it. And so now Stockfish is thinking about it. He's like, maybe I could move my knight. He's going to move his knight somewhere. Now he's going up again as he's thinking it over. He's only on depth 22. He's already up to 0.5, so this might go up to like 0.7. And so sorry, but this opening can't be good for white. There's no way this could be good for white. How could we say this is good for white? No, can't say it. Can't say it's good for white. Depth 24. This is why it's taking so long. He's thinking his main move already at depth 24 is just take it. Take it, shake it, but don't break it. No money, no honey. But it looks at depth 25 like he wants to take it. And he's already up 0.6. So I'd like to take this to the end. I think I'm going to do that, but I really want to do all the analysis for it. So I want all the analysis on every move for white. I want all the analysis. Depth 26. Now he's thinking about moving the knight again, so I'm glad I didn't just take it, but because I want to see the very best move that could be made in the position. And of course, it's not enough even to know the best move in positions and memorize the best moves and know the positions. Okay, we do the analysis and then we know why it's the best move, but we also have to look at the factors over the board and know why. So I was taught a long time ago that, if all we do is know lines, we study lines after lines after lines after lines and memorize all the lines. Okay, that's fine and dandy, but if your opponent never enters one of those lines, then you're in trouble, because that's like you're not thinking on your feet, because you're not thinking about the ideas in the opening, and you're not thinking about the motifs, and you're not thinking about those things, and so you're dumbfounded, like that poor kid that was dumbfounded with the Patzer opening to start with. It's like that to me really showed me that that's kind of a sad state, that a FIDE master, okay, who's struggled all the way up to 2200-ish, and then got all his norms to get his title, and probably he's very, very proud that he's got that title because he worked so hard at it, and there's respect in that. Suddenly you get the respect because you're a master at chess. You don't get respect from the grandmasters, maybe, but maybe you get some respect from the IMs, okay, because you're just basically like going from being an expert, which is kind of like a senior in high school, top dog, to suddenly you're the new guy. What do they call it? Freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, right? So you're a freshman at college, and there's no respect from the college people so much. Maybe the sophomores kind of give you respect because they're just fresh off the boat from being a freshman the year before or whatever. So maybe you get a little more respect from that. But the grandmasters are just like, they're just like, yeah, it's okay, whatever. You haven't gotten there yet. You're beating guys. You're beating all these other guys. They're much weaker, but you're beating all of them. Okay, that's fine and dandy. But if a miracle happened tomorrow and all these other guys, all of a sudden new chess, and we're in really good form and everything, then you'd be in big trouble because whatever. But this is to me a sad state, that a FIDE master gets handed the stupid Patzer opening. Okay, now of course it's different. I don't know the situation as far as the international master. I really don't. Um, if the international master really knows this opening, he just knows it, and he knows it well. Okay, um, uh, maybe he thinks he can have some type of chances or something. But this isn't an opening that just draws with best play, and then you have a whole lot of stuff that your opponent can do to lose. This is a opening that every single move the opponent makes right now, at least, except for King H7 or Knight to E8, which just brings them all the way down to equality. Okay, but we're beyond equality. We're beyond the accepted advantage of about 20 to 25, and also black is like one move away from going into the middle game, so everything changes. Now it's a middle game advantage. Sometimes we fight for a middle game advantage, and we get some advantage in the middle game, and we try to convert that, and maybe we try to, we have some advantage in one of the elements, and we try to play maybe to push it, and if we can't push it, then maybe we realize we can just convert it to some other element and have an advantage in that, and we could push that. But this is not even that. This is entering the middle game already with a nice advantage. If White had this advantage in the middle game, White would be like, man, this is nice, man. This is awesome. But if Black enters the middle game with an advantage like this of 0.5, 0.50, I mean that's like phenomenal, because already he was expecting. So it's like he's gained an advantage of positive of points of 0.75, okay, but 25 of that brought him to equality, and then the rest of it was just gravy. And another thing too is, like in an opening like this, okay, if you're going to play an opening like this, you better expect that you're going to get a fight on your hands, because Black has absolutely no problem with any type of offensive motifs, because he's already equalized the position. So he doesn't have any problems that he has to deal with, or any things that happen where suddenly the route into coordinating his pieces to get pressure on his opponent, so he can make a threat and then somehow finagle some other threat. Usually the other threat is just causing a weakness in the position. So now and then somehow he can finagle that to where suddenly he's coming in, and there's like, in his secondary threat, his secondary threat is cheesy. It's a cheesy threat, of course, we know that usually, and then the opponent has to he defends against it, so the threat's there no more, but the defense of it causes a weakness, and then suddenly he's just kind of developing his doing something with his pieces, because we know that when we have attacking pieces and making a threat, and when there's a lot of attacking pieces making a threat, our opponents can never move his pieces away, because the square falls, and whatever is on it falls into the hands of his opponent. So he can never take his pieces away. But the one that's got all the material involved in the threat, those pieces don't have to keep the threat up. They're not married to it. They could go, you could have a piece go somewhere else. And if you can get maybe even a situation where you cause some weakness in the position, to where maybe one of your pieces, maybe a knight, takes away from the threat, and then reposts itself on a different square, and is now entered the threat again, but also supports something on another square, another threat on another square, because of the weakness. Suddenly your opponent's not going to be able to hold the both, of course, and then you have the winning attack, right? But when we enter a game like right now, we're on move what? He's thinking it over, and Stockfish right now at depth 31 is saying I for black I'm winning at 70 cents. I mean, right now he's 50 cents away from a winning game. So there it is. This is going to be a long video. This might be a 2-hour video tonight, just for the simple fact that I'm sitting here and I've got my Diet Pepsi. I just had my crackers, are very nice. Had my CBD oil, so I'm feeling nice. I think I might. I'm nice and calm. I think I might actually. I might have me a real soda because I drink the diet sodas, but I might have me about half a real soda, and get me a couple more of those, a little more of those crackers, and I might go on Elite Chess and play me some Blitz. I'm so disgusted that I was playing Blitz on Elite Chess, but my little wireless mouse started acting up on me, and when I would go to pick the piece up, it was like acting all weird and stuff, and I ended up in one position where I had about 9 seconds to checkmate the guy, and I'm gonna checkmate him in 9 seconds, and suddenly I couldn't get the piece to move, and the mouse, and then all of a sudden I ran out of time and I lost the game because I lost on time because of the stupid mouse. So I pulled that mouse out, the wireless, and I put the antenna out, and I tossed it in the corner, and then I grabbed my Microsoft mouse that I've been using for years. I plugged it back in the computer and apologized to the computer for being so stupid, because that other mouse just was so bad. But this mouse is really good, so I'm ready to play some chess. I could do what I want. And the other mouse, I could never get it set right, but here I got my perimeter set pretty good, where it's pretty fast, but not too fast. It feels really natural. But the other one was like I would pick up a piece, and I'd go to move it, it would do this, like this, and then it would drop back, and I kept picking it up, and So here I'm in this beautiful position. I'm playing great against this guy. I think I was actually playing him I was playing a bunch of 3-minute games. Some of them I played really horrible because I haven't played Blitz in a while. And to play good Blitz, for me, I have to pump myself up a little bit with sugar, but not too much sugar, so I don't get like too nervous or too much energy, and just play faster, because I'm so used to playing rapid chess that I build really good positions that are positive positions. Where I have an advantage, and then I just run out of time, or I just I get nervous and make a mistake or something because my time is low. I look at my time and I'm like, oh my God, I'm looking at this, I'm playing this game, I'm having a good time, and I look down, I got 37 seconds, the guy's got a minute and 27 seconds, and I'm like, how did that happen? Yeah, and I didn't even feel like I was like making, taking too much time to make my moves. So at depth 31, he's pretty committed to this move right here, this knight move. So let's see what happens. And the lovely thing about this style of analyzation is all I have to do now is look at the position, and as soon as it gets high enough to where it's stable, as far as Stockfish is concerned, where he's just pointing at one main move, and he's showing his second moves and his third moves, and his fourth move, and that's his top analyzation. Anything else that's going to happen that's not on there, we know it's just going to jump you up into probably 4.5 or 3.4 or something like that, and you're really going to be killing him. But I think this is the type of position where it's like anybody could tell, any chess player could tell right off the bat, even if they're 1,500, 1,600 point player, not saying like on Elite Chess you got a 1,600 point rating or something like that, but that's your mentality in chess and your growth in chess, and that's where you are in chess, and that's where you play in chess. Even that player probably could look at this position and say, hey, look, I think this is better for black. It's got to be better for black. Of course, as it analyzes, of course, the score goes up and down. But if you notice, ever since the beginning of the game, black has never gone to where white even has a smidgen of advantage. There's no advantage in this opening. All it is just crazy, insane stuff. Again, with a tad bit of inaccuracy with an inaccuracy, and then the lines that were created out of that accuracy. Um, now of course a lot of players might put their queen on f6, so you should watch Butcher's video for that. I think I watched his video probably at least 18 or 20 times. And I was on my other video on the one where I busted, on busting the Stafford Gambit and how horrible that gambit is. Okay, I was talking about other gambits, and I was talking about the Colorado Gambit, where the guy on YouTube, the Indian guy CG, I think it's CG, totally cool dude. I love his videos. I'd love to play that guy chess, and he reminds me of my friend Muku in Chicago when we used to play on the north side in Chicago, and along with Jim Marshall, who was a master back then, and Gene Scott would pop in now and then, and he was one of my teachers, and then Ron Washington every now and then would pop in. He's one of my teachers. But I remember I watched that video series of CGs probably about 10 or 15 times, and I was a big fan of the Colorado Gambit because it was so scary for my opponent and so freaky, because my opponent, he plays d4, I play d5, and then he plays knight to f3, and he's expecting me to play knight to c6, and then maybe he has really studied, the bishop's opening, or if I turn it to a Joko Piano out of that, or the Roy Lopez, and if I just play something like the Gregorian, if I play like the Breyer, or maybe, which is to me is a little bit passive, because I think I would rather attack the bishop with the knight than just put the knight on a square just to get something done. But it's playable, and then but I don't play it, because when I was studying all that stuff, I studied that, and I said I don't really like that idea. I like the idea of forcing it to go over there and just quickly stabilizing my center, because you get moves in now to stabilize the center, and because the center is pretty shaky if you don't. And then of course there's the Berlin and everything, and all of that. And I'm waiting on this. I lost my train of thought, so I can't remember what I was started to talk about, but give me a minute and it'll come back to me. So on depth 29, it looks like he's pretty much committed to putting the bishop on d2. We'll just give it a minute, because I don't know. He may go past 29 into 30, but I don't know. So I forgot what I was talking. So I was talking about my friend Muku and Jim Marshall and those guys. But I forgot what I was started to say on that. It just disappeared as quick as it came. It disappeared. But that's okay. It'll come back to me in a minute. So if you notice the engine analysis, the score has gone down to .40, and as soon as we could probably say right now it's not a vital thing to have those rooks connected for black in the position, so we could say black's already in the middle game, or he's so close to the middle game he should just get the bonus. So that .40 means an awful lot more than it would if you would just say, I don't know, maybe your 6 or 7 moves playing white against the Dutch, and you got about a .40, because the Dutch right off the bat, if I remember correctly, I think right off the bat was like for black was like white scored a score of like something like plus 67 or something like that on move 1. On d4, f5, and then and that's the great thing, because analyzing this way really does teach us a lot too, to really um, work in a system that's comfortable for us, um, and it's not just like memorizing lines. Yes, we're looking at the positions and we're looking at what we can do or not. But if you listen to any grandmaster, super grandmaster, even in the tournaments, that's exactly how they talk. I mean, they're like, if he best move would be to go here, but if he does, oh well, what if he goes here? No, because he does that and this and that. You only have to analyze maybe one or two, maybe three, maybe tops four moves to even recognize the factors of the position that are worse for the worse side. So it's good to analyze those things though, but I think this is really good because in your positions, I think you're really going to start to understand like the best moves that the opponent can have and the reasons why. But of course, something simple like this, I'm not guaranteeing that this type of study or this type of analyzation is not is going to be beneficial for you if you're studying just really solid openings and strong openings and regular openings, like E pawn or D pawn or C pawn openings. Um, but as I did a video on Larson's opening, that opening just kind of like gives black an advantage right off the bat because it's passive. So I look at that and I'm like, well, I really don't understand why somebody's going to play the Larson's opening, but can see them playing it because people do play it. But um, it's nice because I broke my headphones. There it is. I stick the plug up there and I pull the plug out. Because of the fact that it's easy to analyze. It's real passive, and when it's passive, it's pretty easy to analyze on Stockfish. So it's like, what other things are black gonna do? You could see white gonna do in Larson's opening, because it really gets down to it. Just because you control the diagonal doesn't mean anything. It really means the only thing that matters is in the games are dynamic play. If you have a dynamic position, and then knowing those things, and knowing how to play in a static position, and knowing things like your opponent's weakness in static position is going to stick around forever. In a dynamic position, it's going to be temporary, but you have to really take a look at it and first beg the question and evaluate and then calculate maybe a little bit. But you have to think to yourself, do I have time? Because there's an urgency to get to his weakness. Do I have time to get to his weakness? Meaning when I'm analyzing, can I actually get it and go there? So I'm trying to look at that. But at the same time, I have to analyze if I invest all this time and trouble into going after his temporary weakness. Can he sack some pawns and the pawn structure is already dynamic? Can he sack some pawns and then it's super dynamic, and suddenly he's got a whole bunch of play against my king, and suddenly all my pieces are over there like we were coming to get the weakness, but all of a sudden the king is getting checkmated, So, okay, what depth is he on? He's on depth 31, and he's totally thinking about castling. So I think that we could probably take a look at other moves now. Let's take a look at the knight move. Well, that's looking even better. And look at he's torn between the two, but he's like, this is better. I mean, we've got top move is 0.9 and bottom move is 0.6. So he can't do that. Let's see, going here. Yeah, that's still worse because it's like 0.7, 0.6, 0.7 top move. So yeah, can't do that. Let's see. He goes here. And he's got this move as his top move, and it's 0.3, but we're gonna let it grow a little bit because it's only on 19. Now, of course, when I analyze this stuff myself, I don't do it exactly the way I'm doing it for you here because I'm trying to make this a quicker video just to prove things to you. So my analyzation would be as follows. So let's back that up a little bit because we didn't really. I don't think we made the best move because right now the best move is castling. So and this, as soon as it stabilizes, now it's at depth 32, so it's pretty stable. So we know the best move's castling. So it comes up with a mathematical formula of the math of the board, and it says this equals that, and then this move right here is the best move that we could do in the position. So when I'm analyzing, when I'm doing my own personal analyzing on stuff like this, it's easy to analyze. You know, when I analyze this move when we did this, it was really horrible. Then I'll take that deeper. I'll take that maybe try to take it 8 or 10 moves deep, and just see where we go. But I don't have to, because really it comes to just knowing the moves and looking at the moves. Like he's at this point, he's really just going to attack on the king side, and he's going to attack this pawn on the king side because he has time, because he wasted time putting the bishop here, so he could play the pawn move. He's also thinking about putting the king over here, but that's like way down the line, which probably drops him down to about maybe 0.5, yeah, 0.4, 0.3. Yeah, there's 0.5. Okay, so we know that. So we're not going to do that. And then he's got these two moves that are going to drop him down to maybe 7, 6. Is it coming up? Oh, even worse than that. It's even worse than that. There's 5. So that's even worse. And then it's got this move probably here, which is probably the same, 0.5, something like that. Well, actually, it says it right here, but I try not to look at all this stuff because it's so easy to get caught up in all this crap. I just want to learn it kind of one move at a time and just go. So of course. And then what was the other one? So we know those. So that's what he's really looking at. He's on depth 22 though, so I'm going to give him a little bit of a break. I'm going to give you a break a little bit, and I'm going to shut the video off, and then when I come back, I'm going to take about a 5-minute break. Or if you want to leave the video going, or should I just keep going? I'm going to keep going. I'm going to take a break, but I'm going to just pause the video, come back, and then keep going. Okay, at depth 29. This must be a critical moment in the game, because he's been flipping and flipping even at depth 29. So I think I'm going to have to take him up even higher and see a higher depth. But white has an advantage of 70 cents, and black's position is just crappy. Another good thing about posting my videos like this, of course, is I'm helping you out with your game. Of course, I'm not charging. Oh, I dropped my stupid microphone. Hang on a second. I didn't drop the microphone. I'm sorry, the wire in my headphones came out. Because if I plug it in, I only hear my voice on the one side, and it just kind of sounds weird to me. So I kind of put the plug halfway in. But so he's got an advantage of 0.70 in the opening, and but this must be a critical moment in the game, or maybe not so much a critical moment in the game, but this must be a critical moment coming up. Maybe a critical moment for white coming up, because he's really talking about playing a nice move where he puts the pawn, and pawn takes pawn. Of course, rook takes pawn. And what does he have? He doesn't have, like, the knight check would be really nice if that queen wasn't there. If the queen had moved, he could check him with the knight, but the knight's there too. So on c6, so if the knight magically disappeared and went somewhere and the queen went somewhere, he'd have a nice check, and then he'd win that rook, and he'd probably be winning the game. But of course, it's just not happening. It's not happening at all. So even if he decide, well, he couldn't even do that. I was thinking maybe he could play knight to g5 and just sack, or bishop g5 and just sack the bishop, get the queen out of there. But the knight, of course, his knight in c6 is holding the checking square anyway, and the queen would be also holding the queen would be no, the queen, but he couldn't even do that. The bishop wouldn't even do that because the queen could just take it. So it's over with. I mean, this game has got to be over with. This opening for white has got to be not even called an opening. This has got to be called a major blunder. But if this game goes to 40 moves, I would call this the 40 move blunder. Now you'd have to call it, instead of the Patzer opening, or I would call it the high five opening now, because I'd be giving people high fives. If the international master played this garbage against me, I'd be so happy. First, I'd act like I was completely freaked out, like oh my god, like that kid did. I'd be like oh my god, and I put my hand on my head and everything, and I put my head down, and he'd do his little smuggy laugh, and then I would just raise my head up really slow with a big smile, and I'd be like oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, and I'd be looking for somebody. Come here, let me fight, let me fight. Look at he went into this, he went into the what did I call it before other than the high five opening? I forget. Oh yeah, he went into the 40 move blunder. He's playing the 40 move blunder against me, and then I would just play these moves that I analyze and analyze and analyze and analyze and analyze. And this stuff's so easy to analyze and so easy to remember as you're analyzing it over and over and over again, going through everything. Just because if you're going to analyze a Slav defense, or you're going to analyze a Rolopez, or you're going to analyze even bishop opening that turns into a Joko Piano, Joko Piano. If you're going to analyze a Scotch, if you're going to analyze those things, there could be an awful lot to analyze. So it could be like you started analyzing, and your mom, your mom's telling you, hey, you're late for the first day of junior high school, and when you finish your analyzation, your mom's like, happy 59th birthday, right? I mean, there's just so much to analyze in some of these openings. But something like this, when it's a gambit like this, even if it's a gambit that draws and doesn't lose but draws with bets play, it's one, is your opponent going to find precise moves because you have precise moves. You have precise moves because you've analyzed all the intricacies. But if you're analyzing something like that, you got a million things to analyze. This you don't. You only have a few things to analyze. So each move, of course, we don't have to analyze our side of the board at all, too. We don't have to analyze that at all. Stockfish has done that for us. Okay, so I'm at depth 31, and it's saying just put my king right here, so that's what I'm going to do. And I think that's what happened before. So now he's thinking about castling. So we're going to give him some time. And again, it's going to take a long time for him to analyze White's position because White's got so many problems. There's so many things that can happen in this position. It's so becoming so flexible and dynamic for Black. The Black's got so many choices that White's got to look at. His best move is to just castle. Okay, well, it's almost like if he castles, then does he have any type of counterplay on the king side? Because it's amazing that his pawn structure is dictating that the king side is his offensive side. But he doesn't even have any way to muster up any counterplay over there. So I would think that, and now he's thinking about the bishop move because he's probably thinking, if I have anything, I have to start pushing pawns up maybe on the king side in attack. But, so maybe I'm going to castle queen side, so let's get the bishop out of the way. But now he's thinking about castling king side again because he's like, man, if I castle queen side, it looks like I'm in some crap. Or it looks like it gets worse. And if it's getting worse by doing that, then, sooner or later, the worse something gets, the more it I didn't cuss, I just had Freudian slip. The more it flusters and everything for you, gets the more flusters. Now I'm getting nervous because I had the Freudian slip. The more it festers and festers and festers, and it's like worse and worse. Sooner or later, something's just gonna give. It's just gonna give, and things are gonna just fall apart for you. For your opponent, because his opponent his position was so bad and so horrible. So if we look at this, I mean, I'm sorry that I'm laughing, but this is like comedy, because this is like maybe I'm playing Mo, Larry, and Curly chess, and they're fighting over the moves here as he's wondering, what bad move can I make? What bad move can I make? Because when you're in the 40-move blunder, you're in the 40-move blunder. I don't know if it's 40 moves, so I have to see. I mean, like, seriously, or maybe give this opening like a brand new name, other than the high five opening. I like that name anyway. It sounds kind of cool. It's kind of like, well, your opponent opens with this and you're giving everybody high fives because you're just like, this is how I set up against it. And what is my opponent, if he's not going to play his best moves, after that, I defend the pawn with the knight, and then he plays the cheesy bishop move, and it's just like he should really just put his queen back and just kind of like concede the fact that if I start this thing, as soon as I put that bishop there, I've blundered. I blundered horrible. I blundered into a position that's just horrible, and there's nothing I can do about it. because it's not like a position where it's kind of like worse for you, and then there might be something there. It's kind of worse, but as it goes up and it goes down, there might be something there. And then there's always the possibility that your opponent plays an inaccuracy, and suddenly you have something that equalizes, stabilizes everything, but you just don't have any attacking chances. So at least you're not going to lose the game, right? But in this, as soon as he puts that bishop over there, that's the beginning of the end. It's like I kick the queen out of there, I put the knight up there, I play h6, which a little bit looks counterintuitive because it's just a pawn move, and it also looks kind of crazy because it's just like, okay, whatever. Am I going to really do this? And I'm going to do this, and I'm going to leave what? I'm going to leave, you know, um, f6 a hole. Well, it's already a hole, but I mean, it's just like, I don't know. My bishop. Why would I put the pawn on h6? It cuts off my bishop in case my bishop needs to take that, go to that square for some reason. So it's totally looks counterintuitive. Okay. See, now here we go. Now now White's thinking about, I got to push up some pawns to get some counterplay. He's just like, I don't know, but now he's thinking, no, I'm not going to do that. I can't do that. I can't even do that in this position. He's like, dang it. I'm calculating everything, and every single move is bad for me. But some are less bad. There's one that's the least of all the bad ones, because in this he's only built a position that's horrible and totally busted. And if Grandmaster Roman Gisavili was watching this video, he wouldn't even be at the end of the video. He would just get to the certain point. He'd be just like, man, that's so horrible, for for white. And the horror show is just about to begin, because it's just like now all of a sudden the king's safe. The king is seriously safe. He's off the diagonal. So maybe if he stayed in the diagonal, maybe white might have something in the position, but I don't even think he would have that. I think it would still be like you could keep your king there and just play with a lesser advantage or something and play something else, but if his advantage is growing and growing, okay, now it's gone down to point 30, but that's okay because we know that it goes up and it goes down, so we're not afraid of that. We're not worried about that. And he's on depth 29, but I'm going to give him a little bit more time just to make sure that what he's doing is the best move, because I don't want to go into it where it's like I haven't seen the best move, and maybe I'm playing the second best that he's considering to be the best. And maybe Lee Chess could somehow work that out with the computer, where instead of just pointing like that, maybe that arrow could blink, saying I'm thinking about this, but don't use this for analyzation yet, because it might not be my best move. But and again, it doesn't matter, because out of these moves, he's only got like 1, 2, 3, 4 candidate moves, and these are all the secondaries and the thirds. That's a third. That's a secondary. That's a third. That's a fourth. That's a third, and this is the main one. Okay, so he's only got like 5 moves that are worth anything in the position. Everything else is just horrible, completely horrible. And you could even do that if you want to analyze that, but in this position, it's just like you should be able to figure that out. You got such a great position. The pieces are applying so much pressure on the king side, but what's really happening is, just with this queen being stuck here and having nowhere to go, maybe it can go here, but that's just a completely wasted tempo, right? It was a wasted tempo for her to go there. She would love to maybe just trade herself off. She would love it maybe if something happened where maybe the knight went back to here or something, maybe bishop takes bishop, rook takes, and maybe the queen goes here for some reason. She would love to just trade the queen off and then have bishop take and play from there, because a lot of the pressure would be gone. There'd be pressure that was gone, and the queens are off the board. But no, black would never play that. Now, remember when black was analyzing pushing the pawn, we could have probably looked at that. But I think that the reason that he stopped doing that is because his position is so good. Why cause any complications? Just keep it simple. there might be complications in that move, because, well, for one reason, his G6 pawn right now would just be weak after that. After that, um, he plays F5. If he plays like pawn takes pawn, rook takes, queen moves. Okay, the rook took, the queen moves, so the rook's got to go somewhere, right? I mean, something's got to happen, but he forces the queen to just go to what, a better square, or something like that. You know what I'm saying? It's like he's looking at that and he's looking at that, and it's like that's too complicated. There's complications in that. It's almost like Stockfish is saying, hey, look at, if you're like smart enough maybe, or crazy enough maybe, I don't know, Looney Tune enough maybe to figure out how to use me to really analyze and do it this way. I'll even suggest this for you, and then I'll just change my mind and I'll just move my king, because why cause complications? Which is kind of like Stockfish saying to himself, I want to play this line right here and push this pawn. That's complicated. That's cool. And I'm going to do it precisely. But that human over there, I don't know. He just might, screw it up. So let's just do this and make it simple. Make it more simple for him. I mean, I really get that vibe from Stockfish. It's kind of the way Stockfish here on Lichess kind of communicates. Communicates the positions and communicates the lines. Now, of course, to do that in like an analysis in something like King's Indian defense, or something like that, it's like you're gonna have a lot of theory involved. There's gonna be a lot of stuff, but I gotta say, Stockfish already has busted the guy's video where he plays the what is it, King's Indian defense, where he plays E takes D. And I had the PGM somewhere. I played it out in Stockfish 8. I gave him like 40 minutes per move. It took like 2.5 or 3 days to even get like deep into the game. Actually, I was going over a different variation. I put that variation in, but I gave him like a lot of time to move. I think it was like 30 or 40 minutes per move. So, at first moves are pretty fast, and then all of a sudden he's got a lot of time to think, so he's got a lot of time to analyze. And Stockfish totally busted that. It was like, that's a horrible move. Stockfish is like, that's in that position, that was so horrible that you have a losing game now, or something like that, if I remember correctly. So it was like, man, that move. And I was like, oh my God, I watched that video. I not only watched the video series throughout the whole thing, okay, but I watched it like probably 6 or 7 times, because I was really interested in that. I was like, that's very interesting, and the ideas were very interesting of kingside play and this and that, and if this and if that type of things. But then when Stockfish proved that it was just horrible to take that pawn, I was like, man, I'll never play that again. I'll never play that again. So I'm waiting. Where are we on? We're on depth 31. On depth 31, he's pretty committed to this pawn move. I don't know. I think I should just go ahead and make it and call it his move. But let's see. I mean, that's the only logical thing I could think of in the position. That's the only logical thing I could think of in the position. Because he's got to get some counterplay somehow. Where's his counterplay? Well, I mean, move like this is just waste of time, right? Just a complete waste of time. But at the same time, maybe this move is kind of justified, because maybe he's got to play something like this, or just play A6, so maybe he doesn't lose the tempo by playing this, where White could do something. But I don't know. This is looking pretty dangerous. I mean, pretty dangerous, but the score's gone back down to 3 again. But again, it's like in a wave. It goes down, it goes up, it goes down, it goes up. In fact, he's already looking at these moves. Look at this one. Queen to G3. Queen to G3, he's thinking about it, and it's like -9. He's thinking about it, it's like, oh God, that's -9. That's like -9. G4. G4 is, he's not thinking about it. I'm sorry. When I touched it, it was just going online. But, I mean, I don't know if this would be a move a human would make. I don't know. This one right here has got to be as horrible as this. B4 it's like minus. He's minus .8, so that's Black's getting very close to having a winning game. I think he's already got a winning game. I think just for the fact that on every move, Black cannot stop his advantage, and Black cannot stop it from like at least growing or staying the same. And the longer we go down the line, the more important that advantage is, of course, because the dynamics of the position, different from the dynamics of the opening game. So, and the dynamics of the earlier middle game. And what move are we on? We're only on, I think, move 11. Are we on to move 11? Let's see. I think so. Bishop D2. Oh. Wait a minute. What was all that about? Did I make a mistake? Did I do something naughty? Oh. Knight to D7. Where's the one with the king just went? Where's the one where the king just went there? Oh, king H7. Oh, we're on. Oh, these were different answers I was looking at. That's right. Okay, so we're just waiting. Okay, so 11 king to H7. Okay, yeah, we were just waiting. I was looking at these, but we're just waiting. I mean, at depth 22, I think we're stabilized in that analysis depth to just say this is the move that White's playing. But look at it, goes way up again, now Steffens has started to think, see, maybe I'll just put my knight back on the B square. Now, you tell me a chess position where you put your knight back on the B square. Well, actually, I'm on my defense for the lady's defense. I purposely attacked the D pawn. He pushes to D5. I know in the other video I said D4 for some stupid reason. I meant D5. I even commented on the bottom. I meant D4, not D5, not D4. And in that one, he kicks the knight, and I put it right back. It goes right back on the B8 square, and then there's play for Black where he just pushes White around like crazy, and he's got all this forced stuff happening, but it's going to peter out. But he's got forced stuff happening, and he's attacking the pawn with the knight. So the pawn, he ends up with queens are off the board, and he's got White's got an isolated e pawn. Now think about it. You're playing the Blackmore-Deemer Gambit, and you're playing against some old dude, right? And it's just like, this guy's like 58 years old. Oh, he's an old dude. Okay, so he plays positional chess. He's probably going to play, let's see, D5 to my D4. He's definitely not going to play knight to F6. He's definitely not going to go into a Grunfeld. He's definitely not going to play something like a King's Indian defense. He's definitely not going to play a Gingy Indian or something against me. He's definitely, not going to play none of that. He just wants to play something like a Slav, or if he's really old, he's just going to play it Orthodox and take it real slow, or what we call Queen's Gambit decline, and he's just going to play inside his house, and he's just going to make it really secure. But I'm going to offer him E4, and he's going to be in this really crazy tactical dynamic game where he's just going to be freaking out. He's going to be cussing under his breath and everything because he's got to calculate all these tactical things now, and he doesn't want to do that, and and he's old and all this stuff. And then all of a sudden, he takes and if he doesn't take the gambit, and if he just protects the D pawn with his C pawn, I could just take it, and then or push it. Wait. Hang on a second. Okay. Oh yeah. Yeah, wait a minute. I could take it. Is he in a French, or I push it? I forget right at the bat. I push it and play an advanced French, except now he's in a French that he doesn't want to be in, because he's like in a French defense kind of where he's down. I think he's down a tempo, and he's just kind of like he doesn't really have enough time to really play to undermine the pawn center. So now my space advantage really means something. Where in the French defense, in the advanced French defense, White argues that he's got advantage of space, and then black argues yes, but I could play to undermine your pawn structure by developing my bishop, by pushing my c pawn, and developing my knight on playing c. I'm sorry, playing c5, and then white plays c3. So if he takes, he still has that. He still has his his uh, his pawns on d4 and e5, and then black, of course, plays knight to f6, hitting the pawn again, and he's also got now he's put the c pawn. He's got queen to queen to b6, tickling the b pawn, and now the bishop's like, oh my god, now I can't develop because he just wins this pawn. I got to play something else, and it's like black has like a lot of play to just play against that pawn center, but in something like that, suddenly black doesn't really have that anymore. He's like a temple down now, so because it's like I could probably play that out if I went to another board. I could play that out. Give me a second, just for a second. Okay, let's just look on Tarrasch. I like Tarrasch. I got this free about, I don't know, 4 years ago, 3 years ago. So let me think again what I was saying. So like in a normal French advanced. Okay, so he's got c5 immediately. So he's going to protect it. He's got the knight hitting it. He's got the knight protecting it. The queen can come out to here, tickling the pawn. Now this is a problem. This is a big problem for white, right? Because if the bishop gets developed anywhere, so he's going to have to do something. What is he going to do with it? Maybe he's going to play something like this, like in a London system. But I think the engine analyst score right now is better for black. Yeah, it's like white said. Well, it's about equal. It's about equal. Okay, but this is a French defense. Okay, so let's back it up. I mean, that's a regular French defense, but let's back it up and let's look at it. And the black redeemer gambit. If he doesn't take it, and he protects it. I think actually he protects it with the e pawn, not the c pawn. Now that I think of it, but he's already down. White's already got an advantage of 51 in this position. I mean, I'm sorry, white's already down. He's already down like 44 in this position. Okay, so I mean, he's got to take it. That's the move. D takes e. But I'm sorry, I didn't mean to actually do that. But let's say he does. Oh no, I'm sorry. He does take with the c pawn. He takes with the c pawn like a Slav. So if he plays, then he just plays an advanced. No. Oh, hang on a second. He does play here, and he just plays it in advanced, right? That's not the one I'm looking at. Why is if he plays here, he takes. So he's not going to play there. He is going to play here, and but of course he really should play here. I guess that's what he really should play. Let me see. We're only in depth 20, so it's not very deep. Yeah, it's about. I guess it's about equal. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but I think that's what Larry Carlson, Grandmaster Larry Carlson said. He's in a bad French. So why is it a bad French? Good question. Good question. Because this move would just be made in the French anyway, in the advance. This would just be made anyway. I don't know. Maybe, I remember that he was talking about the advance, but maybe playing the exchange variation might be even better, or maybe just yeah. Well, knight to d2. I was thinking about knight to d2, but actually I was thinking about this a little bit, so I didn't get to d2 yet. Because and then I accidentally looked at this, but e takes d5 is the move, but it's just equal because it's just an exchange variation, which is just really drawish and equal. How do you push it? You don't push it, but that's just total equality. So that's actually a little worse, but for white than this. It's very close. So it doesn't really matter. They're both the same. Um, so good question. Good question. Why did he say this was a French that's worse? E4, E6, D4, D5. You push the pawn, you're in the advanced. Good question. I was thinking maybe this check means something, but he just blocks with the bishop. He doesn't block with the knight. If he blocks with the knight, he could take it, and then it's a French that's really kind of worse, isn't it? He could just take it, and then when he takes back, he could just advance the pawn, and then it's a French without black without his knight, and that light square bishop I don't even think supports the French. So it's not. It'd be nice to get rid of that light square bishop. Develop the knight, just quickly castle. I guess, but let's go back. We'll go back, and so he takes, and then and then he attacks the pawn, and then normally he defends the pawn, and even though white is actually doing worse, and Stockfish has a line in that where after this happens, he just simply plays, I believe, c6. Well, at least one program did. But you see white's already down 55, 45. Now, if we're thinking all lines and all that stuff, we're never going to figure out why he's down so much. But it's not just that he gave up the pawn, okay? But I believe at some point, c6 came in. He's got c5 on this line. C6, I saw c6 in that line somewhere here. But it's only depth 21, so let's let him get up to a higher depth, and let's take a look and see what our game is. How's our game doing? Okay, we're in depth 29, and now he's like thinking his main move is just to push this guy. So I think that's step 30. I think that's trustworthy. It's pretty stable. It's not like switching back and forth. And suddenly, oh yeah, that's right. My computer's running real slow because Stockfish runs really slow when it analyzes. So let's go back to Stockfish. And E6, he's thinking about E6. So sometimes I think the kibitzer kind of like thinks like a human. Like today, I think this strong line, tomorrow that strong line. So he's really thinking about E6 as his number one move. But let's look at C6 for a minute and analyze it. So does it just equalize? Does it just blow him back to inequality? Because maybe he plays this, and then what? Well, that's the main move that he was suggesting, so we'll go with it. But minus 56. Okay, so this is Stockfish's idea, like pure Stockfish idea, and then this is my idea, and we'll flip the board. And what happened was I was in this game. My opponent played the Black Redeemer Gambit against me, and I just studied it like a crap load, like 3 weeks earlier. And I mean, I chopped that up into pieces and studied every little piece of it, and and looked at it and all the things you can do for white. And I was so happy I was going to play this Blackmore Deeper Gambit. I actually played it against this guy in Bolingbrook, and I was doing just great in it. Of course, he didn't know my defense for it, so he didn't draw it. He didn't play it and then draw against me, or have a drawn position. I'm playing great, and he made this really weird king move that was like, it was so weird. At first, I thought this guy was stupid, but I thought, no, that meant something. So I'm looking for it. And I'm like, and finally I'm like, whatever. And we played a couple more moves, and then I got in this position where he takes my rook with his queen, and then I check him with my bishop, and my other rook's attacking his queen, except he had moved his king, so there was no check. So after he moved his king, he kind of fooled me like the guy did in Chicago, where he set me up with a position where I have this nice combination, and I'm looking at it, and I all I looked at was the combination from my side. I didn't even think for a second there was a secondary side to it that was moves he can make. After the combination was over, and I won a rook, and I was so happy. I'm like, I won a rook, yes, and I boom, 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 boom. And I wasn't even that strong back then, but that's when I first started to have the phenomena happen inside of me. And that hasn't that in that position he set it up. So it's like I have not had positions where I saw stuff like that, but I've had positions where I've analyzed in my mind pretty deep that if I just do this, this, and this, okay, he can't take it because I get a pass pawn and it's over with, and this, and then somewhere in the middle of that pressure, the guy did take it, blew it, forgot, and did take it, and I queen my pawn. He resigned because it's over with. I sacked material, and I got a new queen for it, and I forgot I got something else for it or something like that. But the whole time I'm like, if he takes this, I'm queening my pawn. If he takes this, it's boom, 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 all forced. I'm queening my pawn, and or I'm winning so much material that I don't have to even queen my pawn. So it's over with. I can play from there. I don't care who you are, grandmaster. If you're a rook and a bishop down or something, you don't expect to win the game. But I played the combination. Okay, so he develops his knight, and normally he develops here, but what I do is I develop this knight, and then really the best move in the position is to kick the knight. Is d5. That's the best move. He's got another idea, bishop to b5, coming in here, but I don't know what that really supports because I think I just kicked the bishop, right? I kicked the bishop. Oh, was it bishop? What was it? Oh, bishop b5. Oh, I'm sorry. I was thinking knight b5 for a second. Kick the knight. Yeah, the bishop b5 is interesting, but that's not his number one move. That might be a move worth looking at, but then the main line, in the main line, oh, I'm sorry, he doesn't play that. He kicks it, and I look stupid for putting it back. And then his best move in the position is just to take, and then, I think I hit him here, right? I hit him here, and he can't take this because I take his queen with check. So he's got to protect it, and then I take. Now he's got to. If he takes this with the bishop, I just kick him. Let's get out of there. I just kick him, and if wherever he goes, I'm taking his queen. So where's he gonna go? I mean, he could try to check me here, but then I just take with the knight, and then what? He's gonna take my queen. I take his. So he can't take it with the bishop. Okay, he's got to take it with the queen. But that's okay. He's playing the Blackmore Demon Gambit. I'm an old guy who's pushing him around. Best move, the actual best move in the position is this move. Then I have this, okay? So he's in trouble because I'm getting ready to play here, okay? So what's he going to do? Is he going to move the knight? Well, that's a tempo. I don't know. You're the one who's a pawn down, and I'm the one with initiative, and I'm the one that could do things like start trading off some pieces and get this to a one-end game with my 4 pawns to your 3 pawns. This minority will hold this majority, and just keep enough material on the board to hold it, and then have enough material just to drive it. So of course he can't do that, and he can't do this either, because if he does that, if I do that and he moves the knight, I take this knight, and he's got some serious problems. He would like to kind of castle, so he's got serious problems. So he can't even do that. Okay, so what he's got to do is he's literally has to go here, and then I go here. Best move is bishop here. I take, he takes. I got a forcing move attacking the pawn, so that's a tempo. What's he going to do? Is he going to defend it with the bishop? So e5 is the number one move. I go to a knight. I go to a d7. I think he castles queenside here, but okay, it's a little bit of pressure on my knight. Okay, and then knight to b6, another forcing move. So I'm really kind of pushing him around. I'm getting these moves. Tempo. Bishop d3. Bishop b5 check, and then he takes over, and so now it's kind of like I got these moves all for free. Okay, he got a check, but I wanted to go there anyway. If you look at this position, what does White have in this position? Where's his attack? Where's his crazy pressure? I mean, where's his attack where he's ahead in development and he quickly gets pressure, and his pressure also really turns into some serious threats to where I have a ton of weaknesses in my position and I'm behind in development, and and he's playing gambit style attacking chess. I mean, where is it? Show it to me. Do you see it? Do you see him playing gambit style attacking chess? Because just applying a little pressure to a knight with a bishop that can seriously easily be kicked by my pawn and lose the tempo is definitely not that. Okay, so what is he going to do? Is he going to play bishop takes just to get out of it, and bishop takes, knight takes? I mean, there's still a knight applying pressure to that pawn, and sooner maybe even bishop b7 is coming, and then maybe rook to f8, and then maybe we play f5. F6, and I don't know. It's looking like White's got maybe some attacking possibilities out of this position. So, I mean, Black's maybe has some attacking possibilities out of this position. So in Leahy's defense, it only draws. Okay, there's a couple other lines. I'm not going to go through all those. That's just the main line. But it only draws. What are we at? We're at depth 31, and what's he thinking? He's thinking go here. That's what he's thinking. So now, and he's just going to push the pawn. So its counterplay all of a sudden gets in his way, it looks like. It looks like his counterplay gets in his way. He's got three pieces applying pressure to f6, so that knight can't just hop in there with check, because he just knight takes knight, and then pawn takes, and then whatever, bishop takes or queen takes. Yeah. So that's scary. It's not even scary. I mean, it's like, and Black still has an advantage of 60 cents, and we are not so much in a critical moment of the game, but I think we're at a moment of this game where we're getting really close to where the advantage is going to stop going up and down, because White is just running out of ideas, and he's running out of opportunities. Not opportunities. He's running out of ways to. He's running out of. There's a word I'm looking for. He's running out of everything. I mean, the gas is getting empty, and the car's just kind of a little bit going down the hill. But as soon as he gets to the bottom, and he's going to start going up the next hill, and he's not going to be able to go up the next hill. At some point, the car is going to want to go back and crash, because there's nothing in his game. I mean, look at just the moves that we're looking at. We got pawn takes pawn. That's a move. I mean, this position is so amazingly crazy that, well, he plays pawn takes pawn because it's covered by the queen too, but it's just like, with that totally like freak you out, like if you're playing a game, this position, and then I said on this move you have to play pawn takes pawn, and and you're still okay. You might blow a lot of your advantage away, but you're still okay. Even though he's got the pawn there and he's got that rook on that file and everything. But now he's now he's just looking at h6. I mean h5. I hate our system of the board. I hate it. I mean, I hate the crap out of it. I think that we should change it from this bull crap A1, A2, all this crap. To me, it's so stupid, because we could literally just use the number system and it would work fine. Okay, it would work fine. So the rank is a number and the files are a number. So H8 is 88, right? Isn't that easy? So if we play E4, okay, well we could that'd be 54. Why can't we do that? How easy it would be for the chess players just to write 54. Okay, I mean E4 is easy to write, but okay, now let's say you're writing say a knight's going to I don't know D7, okay, but you got two knights that can go to D7, so you have to tell what knight it is, okay. So if you think about it, you would just write the number of the knight where he's at and then the number where he goes, right? So it would be, say you had a knight on F6, it's going to go to D7, but you also had a knight on A7, or not A7. I mean a knight on C5. Okay, and say it was the knight on C5. Well, C5 is what? What number is that? I mean that's 35, right? So it'd be 35, and then it would be, what's the D? D's 4 and then 7, right? So 47. So you would just write that number instead of writing all this other stuff. This knight, blah blah, 2, blah blah, and all that. But at the same time, the less we have to screw around with our conscious thinking on crap in the middle of a game, okay, the more we can concentrate just on the game itself. So I always thought that number system would work so much better, and they should just change it. I think maybe I'll just start my own chess league up and change that, completely change that, and then get all my monster chess students, get a whole bunch of monster chess students, and just teach them for a discounted price, but have a ton of students. And then when they're like going to St. Louis, and then that guy in St. Louis decides to play the Stafford Gambit against them, they just crush them, Okay, what are we at? We're at depth 31. So he's really committed to this, so that's going to be our best move. Now, at this point, we could look at other moves because he's thinking about this, so let's look at this. Yeah, that's close to a one game. That's pretty much a one game. Okay, so we can't do that. Oh, he can't do that. Let's see, this move. Yeah, about the same. It's about the same. Okay, let's see, this move. Yeah, that's horrible, right? This move, that's pretty horrible. Now, can we get something that's even more horrible? What if he played this move? Well, of course, we know that's horrible because it just blocks the bishop off, so we're not going to play that. We know that. What if he just decided to do this? Oh, man, he's 3.2. He's 3.2. He just takes. Well, of course, that's just the way it is because obviously we know that move's bad because it's a free pawn. What if he just plays this move? Oh man, it's 2.1, and what's he looking at? Oh, he's looking at suddenly forcing moves. Oh my God, he's got forcing moves. And where's the queen gonna go to? That's pretty interesting. So what is he looking at? The queen goes there. Let's look at the line. So it's queen g2, bishop takes e2. King's got to take, and then knight to d4 check, king d1. Oh man, the knight's just coming in, and he's just packed it. Oh man, he's even hitting this pawn right here. That's horrible. That's just completely terrible. That's like so there's nothing left. Oh, he can't make that move then, so that's horrible. How about this, the bishop move? Yeah, 1.2, that's one game. So what's happening after that? Oh, he's just coming in this way. It's just like his pieces are just so like not even coordinated for even defense. I mean, if I think before he would even do that, would he just maybe just possibly put his knight back here? You know, even though the knight's going to be so far away, but he could possibly do that. I mean, that looks like an idea. Like just put the knight here, and if bishop takes bishop, knight takes bishop. If nothing else critical's happening or crazy's happening, but the problem is he going to really castle queenside and play that out? I mean, you got pieces over there too. Nice thing about a setup like this is like you got pressure on the king side, you got pressure on the queen side, you got pressure on the king side here. You got pressure on the king side here. You got pressure on the queen side here. So there's so much pressure that it's just like you're just dominating on the king side, and you're invested in the queen side. But if he starts doing something on the queen side, you might be able to just dominate the queen side too with a couple moves. Oh, White should have never played this opening. This is Mr. Francis. Or if you're still with me, and you haven't just like given up on this, if this is still interesting to you, I'm probably gonna have to go take a look at this. I'm at an hour and 49 minutes, so I could probably go to about 2.5 hours, or less. But if I get to about maybe 10 after 10, or 2 hours and 10 minutes, and it's like taking forever, then I'm going to have to just pause the video for every move. So for you, the moves will happen really fast. And we get there really fast, but it's going to take me a while to do it because this video could end up being 4 hours long just before this thing's over with. But I think anybody of the right mind is going to be, for White's just going to be resigning this game. I mean, we could take it to this position. In fact, that's what I'm going to do for this video because I forgot I don't have to take it to the end of the position. This position, you could set this up. You could set this up in Stockfish, or you could set it up on the analyzation board on Lichess and Stockfish 11. That's what I use now, Stockfish 11, because it's easier to do this on the internet than it is to try to use Stockfish. Stockfish in my computer just makes my computer run really slow, and it is an older version. It's a Stockfish 8, which is still pretty strong. It's 33, 34, but I think Stockfish 11. I think Stockfish 9 or Stockfish 10 was like 34, 30 something, 34, 33, I think it was, and it was like, that's ironic that it's flipped, but I think Stockfish 11 is probably stronger than that. Yep. He's really, really looking at it. He's at depth 27, so it looks like he's pretty committed to put the knight right up here and just improve. So, man, that's pretty weird, though, because doesn't that... Oh, no, that's... yeah, I guess he does that, but he plays knight takes, pawn takes. Oh, well, that pawn does cut off the queen, so maybe he's got some tactical... Oh, 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 no. Knight takes, pawn takes. Let me see. Boom, boom, boom. Oh. Oh, yeah. Also that, oh, yes, boom, knight takes, pawn takes, and this knight now is just completely cut off. It's not, it can't go anywhere. It just can't go anywhere. I guess it's got to go here. If it's going to have to move, it's going to have to go here. where maybe it was better for him to put the knight back originally, but that probably just loses big time in this position. So it's a logical thought to put the knight back, and then if he takes it, okay, you got a knight in the rim, it's far away. Maybe that's a lot better than having the rook there, because at least maybe you could castle queen side, and maybe you could muster something up on the king side and hope your opponent falls asleep on the board, or has a fear of king side attacks ever since he was a little child. But I just don't know. Sometimes the Slovak comes out in me when I do these videos and stuff, and then sometimes the Irishman comes out in me when I do these videos. But it's more like a watered down Irishman, Irish on my mother's side, Slovak on my father's side. But and sometimes I'm just Mr. Francis. Okay, I'm gonna end this video. I think I'm gonna end this video now because but I'm gonna look at this move. He takes. And it's still 0.7. I think he's still got this, but he's got en passant, right? Boom, en passant, bang. So both of them are bad, but the knight's covering the en passant, right? So oh, baby. Yes, something's happening that's bad happening here. Does he have actually a way to kick that knight? Oh, the knight's got to go here. Yeah, okay. So he doesn't really want to kick the knight. If he's going to move it there, let him move it there on his own. Don't give him the move. Sometimes we kick a piece and it just goes to a better square, Maybe I'll talk a little bit more. If I could talk about stuff like that and you're still interested in this video and I'm giving you really good advice and you're like, man, this is really good advice, and you even maybe having somebody else watch my video who's maybe respected somewhere, not to slam people that are respected, but maybe he's respected, a title player, maybe a master, international master, and he looks at it and he goes, yes, I agree with what Mr. Francis is saying. And the little things that he's talking about are true, and things like that. Like the little intricacies I put in my chess videos where I just think of something that comes up, in my mind, and I just share it concerning chess, things like that. Like talking about sometimes we kick a piece, sometimes we kick the queen and she just goes to a better square. She was horrible where she was at, or she wasn't that active where she was at. She was just sitting there, and and she wants to go to a better square, but it's a tempo, and suddenly you use a tempo. You just give her a tempo by kicking her with the pawn. Get out of here, and she's like, gladly. Or she'd be more like, gladly. But I mean, I'm saying sometimes we do that. That happens in chess. Sometimes there's a number of things I can talk about, but I like to talk about other things. Like I like to talk about, like attacking motif. The number one attacking motif you would think is initiative, but actually the number one attacking motif is pressure. Initiative and pressure are very close as far as importance, but initiative, pressure's above initiative. It's the most important attacking motif, but initiative is very strong too, so don't think initiative's crap when I say that, because I wasn't taught that. What I was taught was that the initiative is kind of like a little bit less than pressure. So pressure is what we're looking for first. So if you're in or pressure is more important. So if we're in a position where we can apply more pressure, or we could just play for a quick initiative, where we can get the initiative really fast, then we want to apply more pressure, unless the initiative is something that we can completely drive home. An initiative is a very funny thing, because sometimes we get a short initiative just for positional gain and it peters out, but we get the short initiative. Sometimes we get an initiative and it looks like it's petering out, and then we have to really come to this point where it's like, well, we've had the initiative here, so as far as the game is concerned, it's not like our opponent's doing anything to us, so it's not like anything else we have to think about. So if this initiative is really petering out at this point and there's really nothing to do in this position, then I need to sacrifice stuff to get stuff done. So what stuff am I going to sacrifice? How am I going to do that? Because if I can't sacrifice stuff to get things done, then of course this is probably, I've improved my position, but maybe this position is just going to be drawn because I can't break through. and so I have to wait for my opponent to make mistakes and inaccuracies to give me an avenue in, and plus I have to watch out for him to just purposely like create a weakness, so I would run over there to try to get it, and then find out that he doesn't care about that weakness, because maybe he's got something he can do and draw the game now because he was in deep trouble or something. So I have to watch out for that, of course. But the initiative, when we get when we get to the initiative at that point, then we're looking for sacrifices. Because if I'm not looking for sacrifices at that point, then I'm just willing to just draw this game. I'm not willing to draw this game where my position's a little bit better. I've improved my position. It's a little bit better, but it's not enough to drive anything home. So it'd be nice if my initiative kept driving, because if my initiative kept driving, maybe my pieces could would be coordinated to support that. And once I sacrifice material and I get forcing moves in, and change the dynamics over by the king, maybe I can get pieces in real fast of really good squares, and I could just go after his king, like with a king hunt or something. Maybe I could do that. Maybe, and if I'm going to do that, can I do that right now? Am I coordinated right now to do that, or do I have to re-coordinate something to redo that? And once I see that I'm busting everything open, okay, I'm busting everything open. Where's his king going to go? Do I have any mistakes that could be made? Like maybe I put this here thinking it's good, but it only draws all of a sudden because I don't have the tempo to just bring it back and then do something else, because he could quickly do something or something, because I've got the initiative. But if I lose the initiative, it peters out. All of a sudden, then my opponent can just start doing some stuff. Maybe he can sacrifice some stuff too and just come after me or something. So that initiative really has to work. And if I'm going to sacrifice pieces to keep the drive going to get in there, now I'm really attacking him, directly attacking the king. And are there any direct combinations? Any combinations that could happen concerning the king? And then, of course, from there, I have to think, well, if I'm going to sacrifice to go after the king in the position, and I just don't see that happening, okay, can I sacrifice for open field combinations? Can I just sacrifice something so I can get an open field combination to where I've got a nice combination that's just going to win me big time material or something? And if I can't really see an open field combination, then what's in this game? There's nothing in this game. I've got the little better position, so I'm the one who's in control of the game, in a sense that whatever's going to happen is going to happen from me, or whatever's happened from me, and my opponent has no counterplay. He has no way to indirectly do anything to me, where suddenly he could just say, I can just do this and I can do that, and next thing you know, all your pressure's going to have to go away from me, my king, because I got all this here, and I'm, so the initiative is very, it's something like it's kind of like a road, or kind of like a wave. Sometimes you get a little bit just to get a better position, but there's still a lot of play left in the game. Sometimes you get a lot of it, and you get to the end of it, and you got a little better position, or maybe even a little more than you should. Maybe your advantage is like 0.40 or something like that, but you just don't see a way to do it. Everything's closed and locked up. So you look for combinations. You look for something where best case scenario, and you look at, like, if I had 4 moves that I can make right now in this position, what would I do? I would do this. I would sack here, and sack here. And then if I can magically make some pieces go in there, so maybe I use those 4 moves to coordinate pieces to be able to support that. So I got pieces or some material getting sacrificed, and then I got other backup material, reserve material coming in, and coming in tactically, and coming in for the king, maybe, which is always nice to put your opponent on the king hunt. Oh, I probably should share this on YouTube, but I don't do my videos on YouTube. I have videos on YouTube, but they're music videos that I made, of music that I write and stuff and recorded when I had my little studio in Illinois. And these chess videos, I'm not putting these on YouTube until some of them I'm going to put on YouTube, but I'm going to wait about 6 months to put them on YouTube, because I figured the people that come to my site and then they like my page, I really appreciate that, and I try to if I'm not too busy, I try to because I'm very very busy, so I try to take some time during the day to check out them and check out their site and stuff, but I don't have really time to like start communicating with people and stuff. But coming up, Sundays is usually my day off, but I'm pretty much on call. So if something happens, you're not going to get me. I'll be on call, but Sundays are a good day to just go to message me on my homepage. If maybe you want some advice on something, or you want me to do a video on something. But if it's something like one of the regular openings or something like that, it's very hard to do that because maybe I could just do like the main lines in it and basically show it and try to make it simple and basic. But to do like computer analysis on something extremely thick, or something like a Carl Can, or something like even like I said, like a Slav or something like that. I mean, or a also a King's Indian defense or something. I mean, that's a lot of stuff. This is easy breezy. So maybe there's a gambit you want me to do the analysis on. Maybe there's a gambit that your friend plays against you all the time, and he just crushes you, and you're really angry about it. I said, Puh. I didn't say anything else, because if I cuss, I got to put $1 in a jar. The other day I was cussing so much I had to put like $10 in a jar, because I was saying some pretty heavy words. I couldn't even post the video after that because I made the video and I couldn't post it because I cussed so badly. I was like, yes, some guy's going. Now my kid says that all the time. Who you think you are, Jerry Seinfeld? From the episode where the kid was cussing, and then anyway. But Sundays you can get a hold of me, and that'd be fine. I don't worry about. I figured because I really believe that my chess teaching is legit, and it's not like BS and stuff. I really do hard work on it, and because it's legit and it's not BS, and I'm doing really hard work on it, I believe it really has value. But I don't charge you for these videos, and I don't charge you for that advice and stuff like that, because I don't feel good about that, because I think that's turned into just almost like a horror show, like chess prostitutes. And it's like, I understand people have to make a living and all of that. That's fine. But if I particularly if I particularly charge you for this, if you think I'm excellent at this, then I mean, wouldn't common sense say that I was excellent at other things, and I would never really have a problem in my life as far as finances? Because if I'm this much of a genius for stuff like this and doing this, there's 100 other things I'm probably a genius at. So I'm not worried about finances, and I'm not worried about that stuff, and that's why I do this. But I also think it's an awesome thing and a beautiful thing to be able to try to put together videos, even though the Slovak comes out in me, and it's not fake, it's real, but it's like I push it, and it feels so good, especially if I have some of my CBD, because my mind calms down a little bit, and I'm ready to play some chess. But it's almost like I sound like I'm insane, because sometimes the Irish comes out, sometimes the Slovak comes out, and sometimes I do funny voices or whatever on of the things that I'm doing, because I have a real crazy sense of humor. But normally, if you're going to meet me in person, you probably are not going to have the Slovak come out. But when I start analyzing like this, it's just like I don't know. And plus, I knew a lot of European players in Chicago that their accents kind of rub off on you, even 20 years later. Because I have those memories. I have the memories of the first time I played tactical chess, and when I just attacked, but I had never prepared it. And he was like, that's good, but you didn't prepare it. And I'm like, but it was fun. It was like, man, it was just so much fun because I had such an initiative. He's like, yeah, but then your initiative petered out, and when your initiative petered out, that was the end of the game. And this is like, and I was like, maybe I should have sacked the piece like tall, and then you would have spent a half an hour thinking about it and created some kind of delusion that I had a line. And he was like, no, I wouldn't have done that. I would just crush you. I'm like, okay, I know that. That guy, what I did was I was such a genius, because it was like, this is the guy I want to be friends with. All the other guys in this chess club, the Chicago Chess Club, the old one up on Lunt, back in the day. They were just their own thing and everything, but it seemed like, I didn't know if I don't know if I would really get to know them, but I think I would definitely enjoy playing them and enjoy their company when I'm playing. But it was like, this is the guy I want to get to know. And so I noticed he smoked Lucky Strike cigarettes, so I bought me a whole pack of Lucky Strike cigarettes, and I was like, hey, and one day at the Chicago Chess Club, I was buying a book, and I come up to him, I says, hey, what are you doing for the next hour? And he's like, I'm doing nothing. And I was like, here, how about I give you a pack of cigarettes and we play some chess, play some blitz? And he's like, yeah, let's do it. And then when I was done, I was like, here's another pack of Lucky Strikes. He's like, how did you know that was my brand? I was like, I was in here the other day and I saw that you liked them, so I figured if maybe you would, kind of help me with my chess game, just play some chess with me and just help me. And he was like, you're a good chess player for doing that. That was good. You were looking ahead. And I'm like, yeah. And at the time, I think we played for about 2 hours, and I smoked so many, because I bought like 4 packs, so he's smoking, I'm smoking, we're both smoking these unfiltered Lucky Strikes. And it just made me think of like that scene in Searching for Bobby Fischer where they're all smoking and playing chess, and it's like, I really enjoyed that. That was really one of the most wonderful moments of my life in the chess community in Chicago. Of course, I had other wonderful moments, like being, to be able to have the honor to have Gene Scott out of Chicago teach me chess, even though he didn't teach me, he taught me a few lessons and stuff, and then it didn't work out from there. And then Ron Washington taking over for Gene Scott, and I can't remember which one asked me, but one of them, they asked me, do you want to just compete, or do you want to create art over the board? And I'm like, I just want to have a strong game and just compete. So that was where they just kind of a little bit taught me just enough to really fight guys and stuff, And then it wasn't later till I had the teacher, Kim. The guy would show up on the bus with this other guy, and the other guy would pay for my lesson for me, but he takes the lesson too. It was like, okay, I guess that's okay, I guess, or something. No, actually, he didn't pay for me. What am I thinking about? Who was I thinking? Yeah, he did. I'm sorry. He would pay every other week. He would pay, and every other week I would pay. We'd give Kim $5 for my lesson. It was like an hour, and Kim would name a bunch of moves, but he wouldn't let me move the pieces. And then I gotta tell him about the position and stuff, and I never could do it. It would just drive me crazy. It was like I never could do it. But of course, I know what he was doing in his crazy way. He was preparing me for the future, because the future, once I have the information, my brain's already used to doing that nasty exercise of trying to figure something out I don't see. So that was kind of cool. And then, of course, I studied 42 books in 7 years, and then watched 4,000 hours of YouTube videos in the last 5 years just to become Mr. Francis. So it's funny that guy on YouTube was picking on me with words, because I was saying how bad this opening is, and but at the time I was going off of Butcher's the Butcher's analyzation, but I was going off it not as it like he's stupid, because he's not. He's great, and he's very smart. He's a strong player. I mean, a very strong player, and he's a great blitz player, and that's a whole different world. To play excellent blitz is like most people just play crappy blitz, but they play better than the opponent they're playing, but he plays excellent blitz. I mean, the guy, he could talk and play blitz at the same time. If I talk, I'm playing blitz, I'm making a video, by the end of the game, I'm cussing like crazy, putting money in the jar. And now I can't post the video because it's just a video of me showing all this information that's excellent information, and then blowing the game in front of you, But no, it was just that he was going off the analyzation of black playing queen to f6 instead of knight to f6. So I'm sure that if today the Butcher has ever seen one of my videos or something, and then he plays that line in the computer, then he's going to be, oh yeah, that's right. But see, it's still valuable. What he taught was still very valuable, because your opponent might make that move. Okay, so that makes this opening very risque. It's not sexy. This isn't sexy. This is a bloodbath. This is like Saw. What movie are we? What move are we on? Move 11. Okay, so move 11 already. This is like Saw 11. It's like all the Saw movies put together. Okay, except it's white that's in trouble and getting murdered. Because this is horrible. I mean, black's advantage is at .5, so it's not like serious, but I think it's still going up and down in the wave. It's just the wave's a little bit slower because I mean the black's advantage is 50 cents, but I think it's going to go back up again. It's just taking its time to go back up again because I mean what does white really have in this position? His main idea is this, and I think we already went over that. I think that was like 1.0. So I think just this move, black's advantage is going to double. And he's at depth 39, so I think that's pretty solid. So I'm just going to make the move for him. We could go over the other moves, but I think this position's like pretty much evident that there's nothing but weak moves left, and there's nothing but the strong moves are just not that strong. But there it's going up to 7. It's going up to 7, 6 and 7. So black is still holding a big advantage. I mean, this is something that you would see in analysis maybe in St. Louis when they have all those chess tournaments and everybody gets all hopped up when the guy does the analysis. I forget his name, Maurice, when he does the what's his last name? Wait a minute. Oh, geez, I hate when I do that. I hate when I can remember like 12 lines in the Jacorian or something, Roy Lopez, and then I can't even remember a guy's name. Oh, Maurice Ashley. Okay, Maurice Ashley. It's like one part of my brain is like working finally. Does that analysis? Okay, it's like to me that's the best part of the show. It's like he's doing this analysis and the way that he's talking and he's showing all this stuff, and the computers. He's got the moves and stuff, and then something happens. And he comes back and I can't remember if it happened or if it was kind of like imagining him doing it, because sometimes I'll imagine stuff that's kind of funny and quirky, and then later on I can't really remember if it was reality that he really did it or if it was just something I imagined, in a sense where it's so abstract, where it's one video I'm watching of one chess tournament that's amidst tons and tons of all my work that I was doing on chess and everything. But I think he had like one thing where it was like some move was made in some game, and then he broke in and he was just like, Stockfish says this is really bad. He's going down the tubes or something. It's like minus 80 or something there, minus 90. And then he's talking about it. Then all of a sudden he's like, oh no, wait a minute. On deeper analysis, he's up like 127 or something. It was just like phenomenal. It was like, that was phenomenal. It's like, and of course, all the different people that do the commentary and everything on there just blows my mind, and you got all the different personalities that just fit so well together, and then what else? What are we on? We're on depth 28, and White's like loses like. That's 1.0. I want him to get it to 120, and then I'm going to stop the video. Maybe I could do it. He kicks the knight. That's the number one move. Let's just look at it. He kicks the knight. I guess the knight goes there. Knight takes. Pawn takes. I don't know. It's looking dangerous. He takes it with check. It's forcing. He's only got that. Let's look at this one for a minute. Yeah, that's still bad. That's like maybe that's the lesser of two evils though. Let's look at the other one. The other one was the main one. He takes. That's what it's looking like. It's got some forced stuff in it. So when you got forced stuff in it, it's very easy to analyze it. He takes. I mean, that's what's he gonna do, right? He's at 1.2. Oh, it went down. At 1.2, when the engine says 1.2, then black has a guaranteed one game, or you do if you've been working the system and analyzing using the system of looking on each move. You're looking for your best move that that Stockfish gives you for your side, and then just analyzing the moves. But of course, again, we're analyzing a gambit, so there's only so many good moves. Okay, it's not like you have It's not like you have 11 responses that you have to analyze that lead to all these different lines of stuff because of the complications and everything or whatever, or the logistics over the board. It's more simple, so you have whatever idea, whatever moves you have. Um, you're only going to look at 5 or 6 moves for your opponent. That's easy to analyze. Even just analyze 4 moves down the line. You know, just analyze it 4 moves down the line. 4 moves down the line, and all of that, you're still winning. You're still winning. And but at the same time, we think about why you're winning. Why are things so horrible and been so horrible for black? So I think that I'm going to have to try to go back to the beginning of the game and just play it out real fast and talk about it and remind myself about it, because this is the second time I've made a video on this. But the first one I didn't have a very good microphone. I thought I did, but it failed me. But this one's really nice. And amazing enough, I bought this in the toy section at Walmart for $10. So it's like I spent $10 on a microphone that sounds better than the microphone I recorded on for years. That's a really expensive one that came out of the 70s, ATM 47, which is a very classic microphone and was like the standard for all news reporters out in the field and for studios that were recording vocals and recording guitar amplifiers in professional studios. So if you were watching, like, say, any bands from, like, say, 72 to 80, definitely they were recorded on ATM 47s, their guitar tracks and their vocals and stuff. But to me, this microphone sounds even better than that. It's got, like, tone to it. Technically, I don't think you want to use it in a studio because you want everything to be flat. This, to me, sounds like it has a lot of tone to it, so you want a real flat mic. It's flat sound, so you can, when you mix it, you could throw your frequencies in and not have too much frequencies already, because once you have a frequency on a master track, once you have a frequency added to a track, you can't never take that out. But if you have a flat track, you can copy that track 20 times and throw all types of frequencies in. Anyway, to mix it down and make it sound right, to get the beautiful sound, or to get what's his name called the wall of noise. But I also, and then Eddie Van Halen called the brown sound, or his, and that to me I really believe that he was talking about more than just his guitar sound, because the guitar sound to me didn't ever sound brown. But later on, once they started having the other guy in the band, then it was much different. Okay, so White's got a disadvantage of .70, but that's going to go back up again. So what does he do? What to do? He's just looking about putting his rook right here. It's like, why not? Just put my rook right here. And it's depth 28, so he looks very committed on it. So let's just go ahead and let's play that in the position. So he's castling, so let's see how bad the knight move is. Oh, it's like still an advantage. And what did we play? We just pushed the pawn. He plays that, we just pushed the pawn, right? Yep. And we just play in the center because, because the knight just gives up this. Just gives this up. That's looking really, really dangerous. Let's see, push the pawn. The knight's here, you push the pawn. Pawn takes pawn. What else we got here? Yeah, here we push the pawn here. Let's see. Pawn takes. You know it's bad when he can't even take with the queen, so why can't he? He's in big trouble, right? Oh, 2, 2, 3. Oh. He's just like, it's okay. He's like, it's okay. I'm just going to go here. No, got to go here instead. Pin the knight. And then he goes here. He's got this knight coming in. Oh, he's got the rook coming. Got the rook coming. Yeah, he's in trouble. He's in a lot of trouble. Yes, he is. So let's look at the. Oh, so we take the knight move back. So let's look the pawn move. Yeah, it's really close to one game there. I mean, he's thinking about that. He's got moves. He's got good moves. This one in pawn move is like that was like this was like his first, and now this is like his first. So yeah, so that's no good. Let's see. Oh, this thing here. How about he just plays this right here? I mean, that's kind of stupid actually, because it's a pawn move, but maybe it something can hide behind or something. So maybe it's not that stupid. I don't know. I'm supposed to get this up to 120. So what else has he got? Let's say he just does this. Oh, that's got to be bad. Oh, he's got his queen coming in. Oh boy. Look at that. That's extremely bad. Queen b6. Queen b6. Castle's real fast. Goes here. That pawn's going to fall. It goes here. There you go. Bishop's under attack. Goes here. This is like, oh, he wins his pawn. Oh, it's just material. He's just getting smashed. Oh, it looks like he's going to go here. He goes right back here. Now, can he play this like this? Oh, the bishop's hanging. That's right. I forgot the bishop's hanging. So where's he go? He goes here. Got to hold the bishop. Oh, he just goes like it didn't happen. Just like it didn't happen. This is Mr. Francis, and the Patzer opening is officially now got to be called something else. So on my site, if you've watched this video and you post on my chat the word booger, just the word booger, and then with a couple slashes, and then give me a name that you would now call the Patzer opening. That would be kind of cool. But don't make it family friendly so I don't get in trouble because some poor grandmaster's dad is poor grandmaster's angry at me because his 8-year-old son is saying the words that you posted. So don't make it like really nasty or anything. But what would you name this opening? I myself still think it should be the 40 move blunder, but I only think it's a 40 move blunder. I mean, maybe we could call it because here's the thing, the butcher had a good point. How could you criticize somebody for for h5? How could you criticize them, right? You can't criticize them. It's just a move. But when he plays the bishop move, he's committed to it, right? So he's invested tempos now. So he's got one in the queen, one in the bishop, okay? And once that's all resolved, suddenly it's like the bishop's like going, you invested a tempo in me, and I'm just gnawing it. Granted, here, this is crazy, and the whole rest of the game, you see the whole rest of the game, he's down the whole rest of the game. He has no good ideas. There's no ideas in this system that he's playing that are even good for him. It's just nothing but him at disadvantage, real bad disadvantage. Okay, let's put this back. So, of course, oh, that was that move, yeah. So he makes this move. So what else does he have? That's it. It's just castling is it. And now he's at -9 with castling. He castled in the -9. So I think that I would say like I would call this opening like second move blunder or something. But I don't know. I mean, if in a minute I get a feeling he's going to be down like 127, and if he's down 127 like in a minute, then I'll call it the 127. The 127 White played the 127 blunder, but it'd be kind of cool to have like a funny name for it, I mean, they call it the Patzer, but it really is the Patzer opening. but it's not really the Patzer opening. It's just a bad opening. It's just an opening that's bad, right? So the player himself, is not a Patzer for playing it because he's trying to get stuff out of it. It's busted, right? It's just a busted opening. But I don't know. I don't know what that. I don't know. I could probably think about it. I'll have a cigarette. I'll go out and have me a Lucky Strike. Sometimes I break the filters off my Camels and pretend I'm back at the chess club in Chicago. This is Mr. Francis. Okay, we'll put the camera back on for a minute to look at the number here, because we're almost up to 3 hours, so this is going to take like 4 years for Facebook to process. For some reason, weird things been happening with Facebook. I don't know what's been going on, and seems like the internet on both ends of the sphere are just like slowing down. So I'm like, I hope it's not all that hacking stuff that's been going on. But if it is the hacking stuff that's going on, I think Mr. Francis will make a few phone calls, and we'll send a couple 100,000 drones over there, and maybe the hacking thing will just magically stop. And people are like, how did that happen, Mr. Francis? And I'm just like, just because I'm retired don't mean I'm not active if I want to be. And I could joke about it if I wanted to be, but maybe I'm not joking about it, Mr. Francis, or Mr. Francis Jail. See, now I got myself all riled up on it because it's so crazy, This position is so crazy that I'd like to send a drone over to White and just have it land in White's yard and say, hello there, Alexander John, and hello there, Xavier. This is Mr. Francis, and look what I've done with computer analysis. And yes, the Slovak is coming out on me so crazy that your father thought I was crazy the day when I talked about it, because he hardly ever heard me speak in the accent of Slovak, and it's just like, what the heck, It doesn't matter, And I, as I talk to him during the day, I just talk normal American, But when I get to chess, I don't know. It's so fun to do that. It's so fun to let my accent come out. It's so fun, because I love listening to all the old grandmasters, and the videos and stuff, And I could do all of them. I think I do all of them. I think I could do the accents, but then right now I'm having such a joyful time just giving you this excellent information of this excellent chess totally for free, or I could have made a big deal about it, maybe got somebody to promote it, some grandmaster or something, and split the money with them, and probably would have made about $20 or $30 million just making videos of all this analysis so players could have a package to watch and everything. And I thought, why don't I just give it for free? It's more joy in giving it for free than trying to do that. Have that agenda of just money. Nothing wrong with money, making money. I know people have to make a living and everything, but I just thought to myself, why do I have to worry about finances? I'm Mr. Francis. I don't have to worry about finances. If I don't have to worry about finances, then what am I going to do? I'm just going to make a bunch of money so I can have more finances, Oh, at the same time, I got this beautiful book here. It's an awful book. It's an awful book. It's an awesome book. About an awful thing called probability. It's probability and statistics for every man. I should have left this with Xavier because this book is a genius book. He'll be a super genius if he read it, but I left him a very, very old 1950s manual on trigonometry, military manual on trigonometry, which, and then I wrote inside of it, of course, like he's a genius kid, a neighbor from mine when I lived in Illinois a long time ago. But he's a genius kid, and so since his name is spelled with an X, I wrote a formula. I wrote X equals super cool kid or something like that. And then his brother drew me a picture of him crying in the window, and I'm standing there in front of his parents trying to be totally clinical because I'm doing this big move and I'm on a big mission and all that stuff. And I'm trying not to cry in front of the kids, and it's just so emotional, right? But at the same time, I'm looking at this probability statics for every man, and my friend said it was completely stupid. The whole thing's stupid to think that. And I'm like, okay, so then tell me where a particle is if I'm not observing it. Where is it? Find it for me and then tell me. I mean, I didn't say it to him, but I was thinking that. I was like, come on now. If I'm not observing the particle, it could be anywhere, right? And then of course from there, because I leave and everything, and I'm doing the chess thing where I'm at and everything is Mr. Francis. I'm having a blast, but at the same time, sooner or later, probably something's gonna blow up big time, and then all of a sudden those two kids are gonna be like, "Oh my God, look at this is Mr. Francis that lived next to us. Look at what he's doing." He's famous now or something. And I'm like, okay, I'm not famous. I was famous long before I was famous. I was famous when I played lead guitar in Beowulf at 725th Infantry Division over in Hawaii after spending 6 months in an AG unit that I can't talk about. And you better not ask me about it because you do not even have the security clearance to even go there. But I was already famous playing in front of 700, 800 crazy army guys playing in Beowulf. So I was already famous before I was famous. So I don't want to be famous again. It'd just be nice to have the means to just keep doing what I'm doing because it brings me a lot of joy. It's a lot of fun, at the same time. But I don't really make videos where I'm playing chess because when I'm talking and I'm playing, a lot of times I make a ton of mistakes, and then I just, I'm just screaming and yelling and cussing, and next thing you know, I can't even post a video. So I think I could probably let this video go now because we know this position's just horrible for white and black's like a whole point up, but maybe I give him another move. So black decides to play this as a main move. It's at depth 31, so we trust that. And now look at, he's like, oh my God, what am I going to do? Oh my God, what am I going to do? Oh my God, maybe go there, maybe go there. No, do this. Don't do this. No, do this. Do this. No, do this. No, how about I do this? No, you can't do that. I'll do this then again. No, you can't do that because of this. Well, what one's better? No, they're all bad. It's all just terrible. The position's just terrible for white. And white is in just such a bad mood. He's just like, why did I play that stupid opening? Why can't I be the guy, the international master who chuckled when the poor little FM, and that was so sad too. But I gotta say though, I mean, the guy's a FIDE master. You're a FIDE master, okay? You got respect. I don't have no title, Mr. Francis. I don't holds no title to the game. I don't have to worry about FIDE's rules, and I don't have to worry about FIDE's junk, and I don't have to worry about the U.S. Chess Federation's junk. I have to worry about none of that. All I have to do is make excellent videos, and sooner or later I will somehow have the finances. I'll just start my own chess federation. I'll call it Mr. Francis Chess or something, or I'll have a contest maybe, to where, why not? We make it big time. We have big party. We have big contest. The winner of the contest gets to name the chess, whatever you call it, chess federation. Okay, and we don't care about FIDE, and we don't care about the U.S. Chess Federation. If they want to come play us, we'll beat the hell out of them because we've got Monster Chess as our teachers from Monster Chess, and we're just beating the crap out of everybody, and everybody else better come to us and learn how to play these positions out. Now, not this one particularly, but what I'm saying is at the club level, at the club level, and then have students that are very bright and teach them correctly and teach them how to evaluate and analyze correctly. And have actual students that are just like going to St. Louis and just giving all those top level players trouble. Because if I could get students in there giving them trouble, okay, maybe they're drawing or losing their games, okay, some games and stuff against them, but if they're giving them trouble and if some of them are winning, then 2-3 years down the line, you guys are getting older, but my students are getting much, much, much better at this game. They're more killer now. They're more killer than they were back then. Because a lot of times young children when they first start playing chess just want to kill everybody. It's just like, I want to kill you. It's like, what do you got against me? I'm just an old man playing you chess. But and then I had a good experience. I had a good experience in Bolingbrook. I played this kid. His father was there, and I played him. He's him and his brother. They're Indian, two Indian kids, and I got into this position, and I don't know, I was talking, I was doing something, I don't know what I was doing, but next thing you know, I'm losing the game. And I'm like, what the hell? I'm thinking in my mind, what the hell's going on? But then the kid just started wasting all these tempos, pushing pawns up like he's just going to push this big attack on me. So it was like he had this thing where he tricked me. He totally tricked me, caught me off guard and tricked me. And now I'm down in exchange, but it's not a position. where he takes my rook and his bishop was so strong that his bishop was actually stronger than my rook, and I'll just take it. That's good. I could play from there. You just gave up a strong piece, and you know, it was a position where I'm just losing the game. It's like it's over with. This is over with, and I'm thinking to myself, this kid's like 4 years old, and he beat me so badly, and I studied so hard for so many years, and I know I'm old, and I know I'm tired, but come on, this is embarrassing. And then he started pushing all those pawns up, so of course I was able to uh, I was able to develop all my material and coordinate it so fast that I just attacked the crap out of him, and it was over with. He resigned. Then I think it was about maybe about 6 months later. I'm in the club, and his father had me sit down and play him, and I was so angry at that kid. So that kid was just ready for me because I beat him, and probably what his father said was true. I didn't hear what his father said, but his father probably told him, "You're up material, yet you just started wasting time pushing pawns and stuff. Why were you doing that? Why did why you were playing like a slow attack against him? You're up material. You just have to play positionally and have the better position with the extra material, and never let him, and maybe open up some files, because I think his bishop takes rook, so I'm down a rook, so he wants to open up a file so his rook can command the file now, because I've only got one, stuff like that." So now the kid wants to get me so bad, but by that time when I played him, I was just like, no, I'm going to murder you. I was just like, no way. There's no way this little kid's going to do this to me again. He's not going to trick me again, and then this time, like, play decently and then just take me to the cleaners, right? And then next thing you know, a little kid beat me, and everybody's like, oh, you want to teach us chess or something? You want to teach chess, Mr. Francis? Of course, back then it wasn't Mr. Francis, but then I played the kid, and it's just like I was just I broke my headphones again. I was all over him. I mean, I just applied so much pressure to this kid. It was just unbelievable. It was just like, just like everything I could get, I was throwing it at him. And I just, I developed my pieces. I coordinated my pieces really good. And then I just applied the pressure. And then all of a sudden his position just fell to pieces. And next thing you know, he's resigning the game. And then his father thanked me, very politely thanked me. And but his father thanked me like it was nice that he got to play and get the crap beat out of him, because I think the kid was like acting like a tough guy or something. It was like the kid was just, and the thing is, he would have this little attitude when he'd sit there and he would just put his head on the table like he was a search of Bobby Fischer. Remember when he would sit there and stare at the pieces? But he would stare up at me, and I'm like, why is this little kid staring at me in my game? This reminds me of the guy in Chicago that used to eat the onions every time he would play me, and he would go, blow his breath in my face and stuff. And it would just make me angry, though. It would make me play much better chess. Okay, so I'm going to analyze this just a little bit, see what's going on. So he wants to play the knight moves, his best move. So let's see what happens here. That's terrible. Oh, that's one game right there. That's pretty much one game right there, I think I could say. I mean, he's got other things like pushing the pawn, but I think pushing the pawn's not what he really wants. He's just going to play his queen here. Yeah, if he pushes the pawn, the knight gets in here. So he doesn't want to. He doesn't even want to push the pawn. I mean, he pushes the pawn, and the bishop moves, but then the knight gets in there, right? So he doesn't want to do that. Let's see. He's looking up just doing this. Just hitting that. Well, now he's talking about looking at putting his queen here. That's pretty funny. Yeah, the onion guy was hilarious because he wasn't a hilarious guy or nothing. I mean, when he would do that, it was hilarious because it just made me so mad that I was waiting for it. It was like if he don't eat the onions today, if he hasn't eaten that onion, I never saw him eating onions, so of course he did it on purpose. And then I think in one game I did my little thing where I corner my pieces so I don't really put them in the middle of the square on purpose. So, and I do all adjacent corners so my pieces all look like it's hard to explain, but they're really ugly looking on the squares. And then we were playing like with no clock, so we were playing like regular long game with no clock, of course, which I hate that. I hate no clock. I'll play you 3 hours each on the clock, but it's got to be on the clock. If you need time, I'll play you 4 hours each if you need time. I'll play you 6 hours each if you need time, as long as it's on the clock, because if you're going to use all that time to think, you should pay for it, right? It should be your time and my time. But anyway, it's a long game, and he's he's eating his onions, and I'm I'm just like really super angry because it's not like I like the onion smell, but I know if he eats the onions, I'm going to get angry, and I'm like, oh, I'm going to kill him, I'm going to kill him, I'm going to kill him, I'm going to kill him. But I think because he was losing at the time, he was thinking the same thing, like, I got onion breath, but I'm going to kill him, I'm going to kill him. So he played this really cheesy crap against me where he took this pawn with his knight, and he's attacking my rook and my bishop. I mean, I'm sorry, he's attacking my rook and my queen with his knight, right? Double attack. But king just takes. But I analyze that, and I'm like, no, king doesn't just take. I don't play king takes. I just put my queen right in front of his knight, and I win his knight. And when I did it, he goes, "What'd you do that for?" I said, "I did not want you to take my queen." But he thought that I was going to say that it's a big deal, like king takes, right? So he just went like smugly and took my rook, like ha ha ha, slammed it on the desk, and then I checkmated him on my move. I checkmated him because he did not realize that my bishop was attacking his I believe it was his f pawn, and my queen now is checkmating him. So it was like he took my rook and he slammed it on there, and I just checkmate. He's like, what? He's just sitting there. He's like angry as all get, like he's smoking out of his ears, coming out of his ears. So, and my teacher Dane, he told me, he said this guy's been playing for 12 years. So I won like 8 games in a row against the guy. He's been playing for 12 years. So I felt really, really good. I was just like super cocky. I was like, yeah, man, I rule this game. But then he left, and he came back like a couple days later or something. And then suddenly the guy he won all 8 games back, and then he won 8 more back. So he just put me in my place. And I was so angry. I was in my bed with my head in my pillow, and I'm just like, I'm never playing this game again. But I'm glad that I didn't stop, just because of that. You don't become an excellent chess player by just stopping. Now, I have nothing against people that just play uh, chess casually. Sometimes my thoughts and my words come out wrong too fast, but if you play chess casually, that's fine. And if you play like club level chess, like you just play now and then, that's fine. If you're like the type of player that's at a certain level, and you like the level you're at, and you don't care, and you're having fun, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with the person who just likes chess now and then and is not willing to study. And then there's nothing wrong with the player who's willing to study a little bit, and that's fine with them. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with any of that. But, I mean, when we see these situations, I see these situations where people are like, I'm a great chess player, and it's just like, really, you're a great chess player? Because you know what it takes to be great. I mean, first you have to stink at it for a long time, and then you're playing and you're studying, and you're playing and you're studying, and then you kind of get kind of good at it, and you're playing and you're studying, and you're playing and you're studying, and then you get good at it, and you're like, man, I'm good at chess, this is pretty good, or better than good, this is good, better than pretty good, this is good, and then all of a sudden, you have to be in the world of, if you're gifted enough and have enough talent, and you can survive maybe all that, then you gotta go out and play tournaments, and by that time maybe you're at a point where you're old or something, or older or something like that. So the way I look at it is, you know uh, if you love something, you're going to work hard at it, even if it's just, somebody would just call it a hobby, like they called chess with me hobby. Is your hobby. I was like, it's not a hobby, it's a long term. Uh-oh, I broke my headphones again. Yeah, it's a long-term thing. It's uh, I'm glad I never gave up on it, even though when there were times I felt totally like a total bum. To feel like a total bum because I'm studying all this stuff, and then to find out that a whole bunch of it that I studied was kind of not dubious, but had enough mistakes in it that if it was played against me, and I'm using Stockfish to analyze that would fail against me if I'm analyzing correctly and I know it the right way. It's just going to fail against me, or at least draw against me at the worst case scenario. Um, or not so much me, even so much maybe like a student or something, because whatever. But knowing that a bunch of it is just normal stuff you're going to expect from humans anyway. You're going to really expect a human to play certain things, and think a certain way, and things like that. So, but to be able to even go over stuff like this to me, and then share it with my chess community, it's just it's fun. I'm trying not to cuss. I almost cussed. I got to put $1 in the jar if I cuss. So I think I could end this video now, because this position that white has is just, I don't know. It's like black's just really pushing. I mean, he's almost up to here. I mean, this right here is 1.2. That's my magic number. If but it's got to stay there. It's got to be. It's not. It's got to. If it's going up, that's fine. But it's the thing that at $1.20, it's pretty stable, But the analysis I've noticed in positions where. Hang on a second. I broke the headphones one more time. I'm gonna throw them in the garbage. Okay, I'll have to do it like this. Okay, with this one in the one ear, just to make the plug stable. So, like positions that are like $1.20, I could say $1.20 or 1.20. Those positions are one positions, but positions where you get advantage where it just jumps up to like 170 or 150, or up to 2 something. I mean, that's the same thing. It's like you have a one position, but it's got to be easier. It's got to be less work and easier to figure out. I mean, you got so much stuff going on, so much strength overboard, so much pressure that you should almost be able to accidentally fall into it, because it's such a high advantage. If you can't drive that home, then okay, there's a problem. But I think of it that way, like if I've got an advantage of 150. In a game, especially if it's in a middle game like that, it's got to be an easy win, not just a win, but an easy win. But of course, if you're up there like 170, 180, or $1.80 or somewhere around there, or $2.10, there's got to be an immediate win somewhere. I mean, there's got to be something somewhere that's going to cause your opponent to seriously resign the game, where you win something of such great value. And it's so important to him that his whole position just falls apart, right? So I would think that would be in terms of either mating threats with maybe a queen and a knight, or maybe just a situation where you could win a bunch of pawns and then just go and push all your past pawns, and maybe his pieces have to sacrifice themselves to keep it all from queening, and then you're just playing with extra material, or he can't keep you from queening. He could just sack everything because he's got to. Because as soon as you queen, he's got to sack it, and then pawn takes maybe, and he's got to sack it, and then maybe another pawn takes, and it queens, and that's it. You got nothing to sack it with, and it's over with. I mean, this is a position where who would stay in this game. And the thing is too, I mean, I think about it, and I think how smug it is to play this opening for white. How smug somebody must be to play this opening for white, and how horrible this opening is, but how smug, like my opponent's stupid, or my opponent's going to freak out and stuff like that. It's like, really? Is that the real chess world that we live in today? We live in this chess world today where people will get on TV. Now, again, I'm not slamming Butcher's videos, because all his analysis was based on queen to f6. So when he when his analysis on queen to f6, then his analysis is totally correct. You do have that game, even though I think there was one line at the end that Stockfish actually found a win in, which happened on the queen side. But think about it: who's going to find that exact line out of all the other lines that are just really good for white in a sense? And maybe I'll do a video on that a little bit and go over some of the analysis. But the truth is, it's just going to be the same analysis that the Butcher went over. So with that move, so it's funny that that move actually causes white to have all this play in the position and make all these moves and really have all this play in the position. And so his analysis was wonderful. There's nothing wrong with his analysis. But if the opponent plays, if you're going to play that if you're going to play that thing, all I could say is it's a piece of junk, right? I mean, obviously we could say this is a piece of junk for white, but it's only a piece of junk if black makes that one right move. If he puts the queen there, it's not a piece of junk for white. It's an active game. He's got a good game, and he's got a lot of pressure, and he's got a lot of stuff, and there's a lot of stuff to watch on the video. So I would suggest watching that, because you never know, And think about it. What if you were just playing casual at the club or something, and what if you're playing somebody, and maybe it's maybe you got like already got 4 points, maybe you got 3 points, and out of 5 games or something, you already won 3 games, or on game 4, you could afford to lose a game, and you just roll the dice and take the chance, Okay, we're up there, depth 34, so I think I'm going to play this move that he suggests, and maybe I might just end this video here because it's still looking pretty bad for white. He's still -9. I mean, the whole game, white's been at a disadvantage, and a big disadvantage, or a disadvantage that's about twice normally what white would have in the opening game. And then all of a sudden in the middle game, that advantage means so much more because it's the middle game. There's middle game, what's the word I'm looking for? Motifs and stuff, and there's middle game play, middle game ideas. So that advantage really helps the middle game. Like, if anything's going to happen, and if anybody's going to do anything, it's going to be black that's doing it, not white. If anything is going to happen horrible and nasty, it's going to be white that's doing it, not black. Black that's doing it, not white. Because black's got such a massive position, I get caught up on 120 being a winning game, and get caught up on looking at higher scores and stuff like that. We just went up to $1 now. We just went up to 1.0. I get caught up in that, but let's realize that in the middle game, if you got a .90 advantage in the middle game, then you've got a great position. I mean, you should say you've got a winning position against your opponent. But if you get up to about $1.20, you've already entered in the realms of a winning game. You just have to find it. You might not be able to find it right off the bat, so you just keep playing really strong moves. But if you can get your advantage to go up any higher, then it's just going to appear out of the blue. It'll just appear out of the blue. Your intuition will take over, and you won't even have to even so much consciously be looking for it. It'll just show up. You'll just be like, all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, I did this, he does that, forced, I did this, he does that. It's over with. There's a fork. King and queen are gone, forked, or something, something's gonna happen. Something's gonna happen. Oh my God! Boom, boom, boom. He loses material, and the other, he loses this material, but his other material is completely stuck, and it can't get out, or something, because of this or because of that. So it's absolutely doing nothing. And I got more material than him that can do more stuff. So I'm twice as strong over there. Maybe after the whole thing's over with, maybe the queens are off the board, but maybe I'm keeping the queens on the board because I've got a knight, and in this position I've got a knight, so I want the queens on the board. If I didn't have a knight, if somehow the knights got traded, then maybe I would probably play for a queen trade just to be able to maybe play rook and bishop. But the thing is, he's got rook and bishop too. So since he's got rook and bishop too, I'm just not wanting to trade the queens, because why would I go from a position that's like the position that it is, maybe, or something like in this position, and all of a sudden trade off material and then leave him with one the same color bishop. So that's good for him, because if we are opposite colored bishops, then my bishop's really strong of its own, can't be challenged. So this position, yeah, I would not want to give up queens in this position. I'd keep those queens on the board. Of course, there's no way white can force a queen trade anyway. Maybe white could go to H2 and then somehow like sneak over to like maybe like kind of sneak around the corner and then kind of come up and come around, and maybe he doesn't even have a place to go to. Even if we magically said the queen could go off the board and find a place to go to, what move does he have to trade queens? He don't have any move to trade queens. It's just all the squares that black is controlling. Not that his positions that excellent as far as what he's controlling on the outside of his box of his territories, 32 squares, but look at all the squares he's controlling in it. I mean, everything's controlled. The only square that's not controlled right now is D3, D6 is not controlled. It's the only square that's not controlled right now. It's D6. So we could look at it. H1, the whole file is controlled. What's before the H? See, I can't see it. I don't have my glasses on. G, the G file. G file. The whole file is controlled. Right? Everything's controlled. Every square is controlled or has something on it. Okay. And then if we look at the F file, yeah, white has some control over. I mean, if we look at the H3 file or rank, I'm sorry, we're doing the ranks. What am I talking about? So we're doing the H rank. It's controlled. The G rank is controlled. If we look at the F rank, every square on the F rank except for D6 is controlled or has something on it. If we look at the H5 rank, every square is controlled or has something on it on that one too, except for, of course, G5. That has something on it, but that belongs to the opponent. And then if we look at the H4, the only square that's not controlled in H4 is H4. And B4. H4 is not controlled, but G4 is. Oh, and I'm sorry, and F3. F3 is not controlled either. I'm sorry, F3. What am I talking about? F4 is not controlled either. So it's a little less control, but look at the squares that we do control on the F file. We got one that's close to the king, and we got another one that's controlled on the king side, and I'm tired. Yeah, it's 3 hours now, so I don't know. Maybe I can make another short video of about 20 minutes and just have the rest of this game play out really fast and then talk about something. So thanks for watching my video. I'm sorry it took so long, 3 hours. I can't remember if he took a break or not in the middle of it, but I think that next time somebody plays the I guess they call it the Patzer opening. I know they call it the Patzer opening. I'm just messing around because I'm tired, and sometimes when my brain gets tired, I just say stuff like that. But next time somebody plays the Patzer opening against you, just using this analysis alone, I think you should have a pretty good game against them. If you watch the video a couple of times, I would suggest just going on to Lee Chess and going to their analyzation board and just flip the board and just play the moves and just look at the analysis yourself. My system is when Stockfish gives me the strongest move for me, when I know it's stable, it's deep enough, and in the positions where these are all positions where black or white, depending on what it is, what's being played. It's either a crappy opening or it's a gambit opening, which is crappy opening in a sense. Some gambits draw, some gambits win with precise play. But so, you know, we see what's happening. If we're white, we make our first move. Black makes his first move, and then we wait for that one response. And then when it's stable enough to where it's not flipping and stuff, we go ahead and make that response. And then when black makes his response, we wait till it's stable enough, where it's gone down enough plies, and that's in a real deep depth of at least 28. Um, so we could really trust it, that this is the real move it's thinking about, and it's not just slowly going to think about something else. Then we look at all the secondary moves. We look at move, our first candidate move, our second, our third, our fourth, and our fifth candidate moves, and then maybe there might be two more or something. And then we look at those, and we look at our evaluation, and that's how we remember it. But you're going to be doing this over and over again, of course. I had to shut the mic off because I'm coughing, and so we look at the different moves in the position, but of course in the beginning of the game, we're only going to have like the best move, then the secondary thirds and the fourths that we're looking at. In a sense, it's like everything's going to be kind of maybe a little bit close, but once it's something like this, we already have an advantage. Then we're just looking at it, and it's like it's close, but it's a disadvantage for him. But as we get down the line, of course, the number's going to change. It's gonna fluctuate and go up and down. But it's not so much the number we're talking about; it's the fact that we're looking at these different moves. But to do it properly, of course, I can't do it here because I don't have a time to do I have time to do it for 6 hours, but I don't have time to make a 6-hour video. Doing it, but maybe I will post like some 2-hour videos with like super deep analysis on every single possible move and every answer. But I gotta take it and run it maybe about 5 moves down the line, and see that and kind of look under the hood of the other moves and why they're bad. And you'll just start to see that, and after a while you're just going to be like, I don't have to do that much like that. I'm just looking at the strongest moves, and I'm looking at the secondaries, and everything I know else is bad. I could figure that out over the board. Okay, that's it. Thanks for watching my video. This is Mr. Francis.